Chapter 51, Part 1. For Lin Xiao, the son of fortune who rose from the bottom, he never misses any opportunity to succeed. And the sixth prince Zhang Yunhua in front of him was undoubtedly the closest chance of success he had ever seen so far. Once he is able to marry the emperor's daughter, he can ascend to the upper echelons of the empire and join the royal family. This is countless times better than doing shit to the so-called adopted son of the head of the Lin family. The head of the Lin family has at least a dozen adopted sons, and he is just one of them. It would be great if a relative of His Highness the sixth prince suddenly fell ill, and I would have a chance to get close to her. Even if no one is suddenly seriously ill, people can still. Lin Xiao thought to himself. I have to say that Chen Beiyuan's previous incident of framing him for poisoning in front of Leng Ruobing gave him a great inspiration. It turns out that medical skills can still be played like this. First poison someone, then appear at the appropriate time, show powerful medical skills, and make the person involved feel grateful. This was supposed to be Lin Xiao's means of self-realization in the original work. But by some mistake, Chen Beiyuan said it, and through other channels, Lin Xiao, the son of fortune, was enlightened in advance. Sometimes, fate is so unpredictable. At this moment, he may have noticed Lin Xiao's blatant attention. Zhang Yunhua also glanced in his direction, and suddenly saw a pig head, looking at him with a look of obsession and greed, and suddenly felt nauseated. But based on her royal training since childhood, she still had a faint smile on her face. She smiled at me. Is it possible that His Highness the sixth prince is interested in me? When Lin Xiao saw Zhang Yunhua smiling indifferently at him, he suddenly felt happy. He even ignored the severe pain on his face and only felt that his whole body was full of strength. He smiled what he thought was a handsome smile and responded with a gentlemanly nod, hoping to leave a deep impression on the sixth prince. It's just that his handsome gentleman smile, set off by his swollen, pig head, looked like something out of a horror movie. It's a bit exaggerated to scare children to death, but it's okay to scare a few unconscious. However, the overconfident son of fortune obviously didn't notice that Zhang Yunhua's smile was a little stiff at this moment, and there was an undisguised disgust deep in his eyes. If she hadn't taken into consideration that this pig-headed monster was from the Lin family, she would have been thrown out long ago. Leng Ruobing, who had been left aside and even ignored, naturally felt nauseated and disgusted when he saw Lin Xiao's disgusting smile. However, compared to Lin Xiao, she was more concerned about Chen Beiyuan's special attitude towards Zhang Yunhua. That special attitude that showed that she was a child of aristocratic family, elegant, easygoing, and personable was the kind of treatment she had only been able to enjoy. However, at this moment, Chen Beiyuan is revealed in other women. On the contrary, she has lost this special treatment. This undoubtedly made Leng Ruobing feel jealous and resentful towards Zhang Yunhua, and she subconsciously clenched her fists. To some extent, women are also extremely jealous and possessive. But when she thought of the terrible gap between them, Leng Ruobing felt a strong sense of inferiority and confusion, even though she is also one of the four beauties in Yanjing. But one is the emperor's daughter of the imperial royal family, and the other is the legitimate daughter of a rundown family. The gap between them can be described as two extremes. Before, there had been rumors from the outside world that the reason why she was ranked among the top four beauties in Yanjing was because of Chen Beiyuan, not because of her stunning beauty. She still didn't believe it. Now it seems that this is only true. Because, among the four beauties in Yanjing, the family backgrounds of the remaining two are no worse than Zhang Yunhua. Before, she was confident that she could be no worse than the other three with her hard work. But now it seems that his so-called pride is just a joke. Could it be that what they said is true? Chen Beiyuan just treats me as a plaything. I'm just a substitute for others. The heirs of top aristocratic families will only look for powerful people who are well-matched. For a moment, Leng Ruobing fell directly into a deep inferiority complex. Her body couldn't help but began to tremble, and her lowered head was buried deeper, making her expression unclear. It has to be said that only a better person of the same sex can inflict a mental dimension-reducing blow on this cool school beauty. Ding! Due to the special attitude shown by the host towards the lucky heroine, Zhang Yunhua, it strongly stimulated the lucky heroine, Leng Ruobing, causing her to fall into inferiority and despair, and began to have a tendency to become black. For the female protagonist in her, the main luck has caused uncontrollable effects. Ding! Congratulations to the host for receiving a special reward. Enlightenment Dao Pill, 48 hours? Chen Beiyuan was stunned. From the corner of his eye, he glanced at Leng Ruobing, who was not far away with his head lowered. He seemed a little surprised. Good guy. The many stimulations I had done before did not result in any rewards. Just because he said a word to Zhang Yunhua, Leng Ruobing immediately received a reward. Are all women so jealous? Is it possible that this woman really fell in love with him? She had been licked by the original body for 6 years before, but she was indifferent. After he transmigrated over, he immediately turned against him and abused and ravaged him in every possible way. On the contrary, she couldn't help but fall in love with him. Could it be that this guy has awakened some weird attributes? Although he was a little surprised in his heart, Chen Beiyuan did not show it or pay too much attention to Leng Ruobing. Now that the matter has been cleared up, Your Highness, 6th Prince Beiyuan, I will take my little brother back first. Lin Jiuzhou saw Chen Beiyuan relent, and things calmed down. He also planned to leave with Lin Jiuxiao, who was pretending to be dead on the ground, to avoid causing other troubles. Tonight, the Lin family had lost a lot of face and suffered a big loss. However, this is not bad. At least he arrived in time and no one died, which can be regarded as a blessing in misfortune, etc. Just when Lin Jiuzhou was about to leave with Lin Jiuxiao, Lin Xiao and others, Chen Beiyuan suddenly spoke, breaking the tranquility at the moment. For a moment, everyone's eyes were focused on him. The atmosphere that had already calmed down instantly solidified. Even Jiang Yunhua's expression changed slightly at this moment, fearing that Chen Beiyuan would suddenly regret it and fall out on the spot. When the time comes, it will be her turn to be caught in the middle, which will be difficult. However, Chen Beiyuan's next words made everyone breathe a sigh of relief. He saw that he turned his attention to Lin Jiuxiao, who was pretending to be dead. Her crotch was wet, and she was exuding a foul odor. Immediately he looked at Lin Jiuzhou, who looked wary, and said meaningfully, "To be honest, even if you don't come, I won't kill him. The most I can do is teach him a small lesson. Your brother is a great talent. I admire him very much. Hurry up and hurry up, the third update is finally ready. Thanks to all the big guys for your help and support with a wave of 5-star reviews. The author thanks me." Chapter 53, Part 1. In front of the man she likes, women will always subconsciously ignore some unnecessary things. For example, small things like the man you like has a fiancé. And Jiang Yunhua, the imperial daughter's worry, was not without reason. The hexagrams that the Lord of Heavenly Secrets Pavilion calculated for Chen Beiyuan 6 years ago not only gave Chen Beiyuan a huge reputation, but also put Chen Beiyuan on the fire. Within 10 years, he would be superior to the stronger ones of the younger generation. How could Prodigy, the younger generation of the Empire, be convinced? Who wants to have someone weighing on their head? If it were an unknown magic stick, no one would believe this so-called prophecy. But the Master of Heavenly Secrets Pavilion, whom Chen Beiyuan deduced was a top powerhouse with 8th grade War Emperor cultivation. Moreover, he was also a divine calculator, who had lived for hundreds of years and had calculated the fate of the country for the Donghua Empire many times and survived many crises of annihilation. In the face of this divine fortune teller, even the imperial family and the top aristocratic families have to give him the necessary respect. However, just 6 years ago, after making calculations for Chen Beiyuan, the Master of Heavenly Secrets Pavilion announced that he would no longer deduce heavenly secrets and disappeared. As the last hexagram master of the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion, Chen Beiyuan has undoubtedly attracted the attention of countless people. Yunhua, you seem to have made a mistake. Chen Beiyuan suddenly stretched out his right hand and pinched Jiang Yunhua's cheeks directly. Such an intimate gesture immediately flashed a look of astonishment and bewilderment on the beautiful face of this royal princess. A blush appeared on her cheeks, and her body trembled slightly. At this moment, she was a little less aloof. It has a bit more cuteness of a cardamom girl. Chen Beiyuan's dark, demonic eyes stared straight at Jiang Yunhua, who showed no intention of resisting, and said meaningfully, "From the beginning to the end, it should not be me who should be afraid, but the imperial prodigy who are returning to Yinjing. The fact that they returned in such a hurry means that in their hearts, they have more or less acquiesced in the hexagram of the Lord of Heavenly Secrets Pavilion. I am destined to be above everyone else." Jiang Yunhua's pupils trembled, as if he was shocked by Chen Beiyuan's domineering declaration in front of him. He was never the one to be afraid of. But those so-called imperial prodigy. This man was more arrogant, domineering, and powerful than she had imagined. The light that bloomed from his body at this moment was more dazzling than the sun rising at 8 or 9 o'clock. It's hard to imagine that he is only 18 years old. For a moment, Jiang Yunhua's eyes were a little crazy. Jiang Beige, the general manager of the Empire Club next to him, lowered his head very understandingly, as if he didn't see anything. He waved his hand, signaling the people in the club to start clearing the place and driving away some idle people. The 7th grade War Emperor, who was born in a branch of the royal family, knew one thing very well. That is, even Jiang Yunhua's father, the emperor of the Donghua Empire, would not object if he saw the scene in front of him. In fact, it is a joy to see. Chen Beiyuan is just engaged to the Bai family. He has not reached the final step and can still break off the engagement. As long as Chen Beiyuan is willing, the imperial royal family will always be willing to open the door to him and the Chen family behind him. Again, no one can resist the temptation of marrying the Donghua Chen family. Even the royal family is the same. However, Jiang Yunhua, who was looking obsessed at this moment, did not notice that there was a strange color in Chen Beiyuan's dark and devilish eyes. The corner of his eye seemed to glance at Leng Ruobing not far away, intentionally or unintentionally. The expected system prompt tone never appeared. No response? Or are you being fooled? Yes. Chen Beiyuan's behavior at this moment was intentional. I want to give it a try and see if I can have an unexpected harvest with Leng Ruobing, the lucky heroine. The result was a failure. Obviously, the system's reward mechanism may be more complicated than he thought. Of course, although there was an element of intentionality in his actions. But what he said was not false at all. In the original book, the prophecy of the Lord of Heavenly Secrets Pavilion is indeed true. Without the support of the system, the original body simply relied on its own terrifying talent. After repeated failures, it broke down and stood up again, surpassing all imperial prodigies. He even took one step ahead of Son of Fortune Lin Xiao and became the first 9th grade god of war in the original work. This time, he also has the blessing of the system. If he can't even compare to his original self, he might as well just wipe his neck and commit suicide. However, the only thing that puzzled Chen Beiyuan was that the extremely mysterious master of Heavenly Secrets Pavilion who gave him predictions was rarely described even in the original work and was often skipped over. This person can be called the most mysterious top powerhouse in the original work. Xiaobai, let's go. Chen Beiyuan let go of his hand and ignored His Highness Zhang Yunhua, who was standing there with an obsessed look on his face and had not recovered for a long time, like a scumbag who ran away after flirting with her. Of course, before leaving, he didn't forget to call his brother-in-law. However, when passing through Leng Ruobing, Chen Beiyuan could clearly feel the other party's slightly trembling body and suppressed emotions. He paused and said quickly, "I'm in a good mood today. The matter between you and the Leng family is over now." Leng Ruobing's body trembled, seemingly in disbelief, when she looked up. But I just saw Chen Beiyuan's leaving figure, walking further and further away. What she had been dreaming about these days was actually solved so easily. However, for some reason, she didn't feel happy at all at this moment. Instead, she had the urge to cry. "Brother-in-law, don't worry. As brothers, in my heart, I will definitely not tell my sister what happened today." Beiyuan hurriedly caught up, patted his chest, and said very loyally, "Whatever." In response, Chen Beiyuan just glanced at him, nodded in disbelief, and immediately got into the luxury car in front of him. "Brother-in-law, whatever you mean, you are clearly doubting our brotherhood." Beiyuan, standing outside the Empire Club, shouted angrily at the car. Seeing the car driving farther and farther, Beiyuan quickly took out his mobile phone from his body and dialed a hidden number. "Sister, something bad is going on. My brother-in-law is messing with a woman again, and she's a royal woman, and he's got his hands on it. Thanks to my brother, I'm here to keep him in check. My brother-in-law doesn't dare to go too far, and he's still wearing his clothes. Otherwise, brother-in-law, I'm afraid that your position in the palace will not be guaranteed." Yeah, don't worry. As a brother and sister, in my heart, I will definitely be on your side. I will always monitor my brother-in-law's every move and report to you. Okay. As long as you don't hit me when you come back, I guarantee that I will be a soldier in your old hands, and I can fight wherever you want. Chapter 52, Part 1. Is Lin Zhuoxiao a great talent? What kind of shitty talent could he be? Lin Zhuoxiao's face was slightly cold, thinking that Chen Beiyuan was being sarcastic, so he snorted without saying anything harsh and led the people away. Even the other people present looked at each other with strange expressions, thinking that Chen Beiyuan was being arrogant. His Highness Zhang Yunhua also looked dumbfounded. "Brother-in-law, awesome." Beiyuan also gave his brother-in-law a thumbs up. Only my brother-in-law dared to be so straightforward and decisive with the poisonous snake in young Lin Zhuoxiao. If it were him, he wouldn't dare. He was not afraid of facing Lin Zhuoxiao, a little poisonous snake. If you want to face Lin Zhuoxiao, you really have no confidence. At first, even his elder sister told him not to provoke Lin Zhuoxiao easily. This person is not simple. Believe it or not, no one believes the truth. Seeing that no one believed it, Chen Beiyuan shook his head helplessly. Only he knew that what he said was the sincere truth, not the so-called cynicism. In his eyes, Lin Zhuoxiao, a dandy, was indeed a great talent. These days, there are not many people who dare to kill brothers and fathers. The last person who dared to do this was Lier, but Lier didn't kill his own father. But Lin Zhuoxiao is even better at this. Not only did he kill his eldest brother, but he also attacked his eldest sister-in-law and took her by force at his eldest brother's funeral. It can be described as crazy. Afterwards, because he was so excited, he actually spilled the beans about killing his eldest brother, and his sister-in-law found out. He simply refused to do anything and killed his sister-in-law directly. Unfortunately, he never dreamed that his own father, the head of the Lin family, would hear everything right outside the door. Facing his furious father, Lin Zhuoxiao did not stop doing anything. He teamed up with Lin Xiao, the son of fortune, to poison his father to the ground, and then strangled him to death. This is definitely a talent. In fighting a civil war, your own people are definitely good at it. He wouldn't show mercy even if he killed his own father. This kind of person is much more useful alive than dead. If you want to bring down the behemoth Lin family, you have to rely on people like this. Since ancient times, powerful fortresses have collapsed from within. Just now, Chen Beiyuan was keenly aware of the resentment hidden in the eyes of Lin Zhouxiao and Lin Xiao, who had their faces swollen. Obviously, these two people already have a grudge against Lin Zhouxiao. As long as they are given a chance, these two people will definitely kill Lin Zhouxiao. I'm afraid, Lin Zhouxiao never dreamed that he would actually rescue two white-eyed wolves today. This imperial prodigy, who also has the qualifications of the great emperor, may not be able to escape the backstabs from his own people. Without Lin Xiao, the crouching dragon, it would be difficult for Lin Zhouxiao, the phoenix chick, to succeed. Only by combining the two can we achieve the greatest effect. It's not in vain that I brought these two crouching dragon and phoenix chicks together. There seemed to be magic surging deep in Chen Beiyuan's eyes, and a wicked smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Lin Xiao was kicked out of Donghua Academy before, and when Lin Zhouxiao sent someone to contact him, he knew about it, but he did not intervene. The purpose is to bring these two, crouching dragon and phoenix chicks, into direct contact and work together in collusion. In his eyes, these two people are both talents and great talents. They are all people who are of great use at critical moments. Ding! Congratulations to the host for changing the original fate line, causing the Son of Fortune, Lin Xiao, and the important supporting role Lin Zhouxiao, to have hidden hostility and resentment towards the young master of the Lin family, Lin Zhouxiao, accelerating the death of the important supporting role Lin Zhouxiao, and advanced the possibility, as well as the beginning of civil strife in the Donghua Lin family, greatly affected the development of the subsequent plot. Ding! Congratulations to the host for receiving a special reward, 8th grade, 8th grade. The Sutra of Zhuohuang is the foundation of immortality. The mind and spirit are united. The Tao and the mind are harmonious. In the Zhuohuang room, heaven and man are unified, and the heaven and earth are integrated into one. Have you forgotten the Taoist scriptures? It's actually a spiritual skill. Chen Beiyuan's pupil shrank, and immediately he felt a grand and mysterious imprint of the skill appear in his mind, and suddenly he felt a sharp pain. However, this feeling of swelling and pain went away as quickly as it came. In an instant, Chen Beiyuan was attracted by the Zhuohuang Tao Sutra in his mind, and involuntarily entered the state of Zhuohuang, as if his whole person was integrated with the heaven and earth. His own spiritual power has quietly strengthened. Bang! Chen Beiyuan used his terrifying will to forcefully escape from the land of forgetfulness. The domineering Zhuohuang Dao Jing can actually feed the essence-nurturing God by plundering the power of heaven and earth and turn it into his own use, and it also has various other wonderful uses. Such a mysterious spiritual technique can just make up for my shortcomings. It seems that the speed of breaking through the 6th grade Battle King can be accelerated a lot. Chen Beiyuan was overjoyed. Although the natal skill, prison-suppressing demonic scripture, he practiced was powerful, it was a fragment and had no spiritual cultivation techniques. This is undoubtedly a huge flaw and weakness for him. When his cultivation was weak before, he could ignore it. But now he has reached the peak of War Commander. If you want to break through to the 6th grade Battle King, you must fuse your battle soul and body at a high density. This requires strong mental power as assistance. Some people find it easier to break through to the 6th grade Battle King due to the weakness of their fighting spirits. However, his true fighting spirit is the Abyss. Chen Beiyuan's scalp went numb just thinking about wanting to integrate the Abyss with his own body at a high density. If it is said that the difficulty for others to break through the 6th grade Battle King is 100, then the difficulty for him is at least 10,000. The stronger the fighting spirit, the more difficult it is to break through the 6th grade War King. However, once it breaks through, its combat power will skyrocket. The emergence of Zhuohuang Dao Jing undoubtedly accelerated his breakthrough to the 6th grade Battle King. Beiyuan, you should be careful during this time. Lin Zhouxiao is determined to retaliate. If he suffers a loss this time, he will definitely not let it go. I heard that he has been staying in a mysterious secret realm of the Lin family for the past few years to practice a powerful divine ability. His true combat power is unfathomable. What he has just revealed is just the tip of the iceberg. He is not as simple as you think. The 6th Highness Zhang Yunhua looked at Chen Beiyuan in front of him and said slightly worriedly, normally, divine ability is an ability that only the 7th grade War King can master. However, some extraordinary geniuses with extraordinary talents can rely on their own terrifying talents to master them in advance when they are the king of the 6th grade. Lin Zhouxiao is undoubtedly one of the peerless geniuses. In addition, Madman Zhu, Wei Wushuang, Wang Daoxian. The monsters from the Empire have also returned one after another during this period, and they are obviously coming for you. They all want to see how strong you are, the young king who is hailed by the Lord of Heavenly Secrets Pavilion as destined to surpass all the younger generations. However, for some reason, His Highness the 6th Prince deliberately ignored Chen Beiyuan's fiancée. That Donghua by family's empire prodigy. Chapter 54. Part 1. The Far North. A 7th-grade ferocious beast that is all white, looks like a white fox, has 7 fluffy tails, and has a terrifying aura is moving quickly. This 7th-grade ferocious beast is extremely fast, and every move it makes directly triggers a terrifying natural disaster like an ice and snow storm in this far northland. In an instant, countless hunting ferocious beasts and alien races were swallowed up by the sudden ice and snow storm before they could escape and scream. At this moment, Bai Ruowei hung up the phone on the 7th-grade beast that had caused a terrifying natural disaster, but her charming eyes were slightly colder. She looked in the direction of the Donghua Empire and murmured to herself, "It seems that we have to rush back as soon as possible." She just took a long trip to the far north to subdue a powerful 7th-grade beast, but she almost had her home stolen. Fortunately, when I left, I told that guy Xiaobizi to help watch, otherwise, the consequences would be disastrous. Ha ha ha, that hypocritical guy Lin Zhuzhou actually got crushed in the hands of Chen Beiyuan. So happy, so damn happy. This is the right thing to do. This is a bit like the young king in the main hexagram of Heavenly Secrets Pavilion. Not long after leaving Secret Realm, Crazy Zhu, who appeared on the frontline land reclamation battlefield, couldn't help but laugh heartily while holding on to the information passed on by his family. The aftermath of the head-to-head confrontation between Chen Beiyuan and Lin Zhuzhou at the Imperial Club is still fermenting a little bit and spreading out at an extremely fast speed. A head-on collision between the young masters of 2 top aristocratic families. The fight between the affiliated forces of the 2 major aristocratic families in Yinjing City has attracted the attention of countless people. Especially, it is the Lin family who suffers this time. The Lin family is the second mountain of the imperial military, the second gun of the empire, the real leg of the empire, and the tough one. Unfortunately, the Lin family encountered the thicker and tougher Chen family. Donghua Lin family. Lin Zhuzhou brought Lin Zhuxiao, Lin Shao and others back with a cold face. His cold eyes first looked at Lin Zhuxiao's guardian, Daoist Ashan. For the sake of your loyalty to the Lin family for many years, go to the Xingfang to get the family law yourself. Yes, young Master Zhuzhou. Protector Daoist Ashan's heart trembled, and his face turned slightly pale. He obviously knew how powerful the grudge room was. In that place, no matter how tough a man is, he has to peel off several layers of skin before entering. But facing Lin Zhuzhou in front of him, even though he was the 7th-grade war emperor, he did not dare to resist at all and walked obediently towards the grinding room. This time things were too big, and as Lin Zhuxiao's guardian Daoist, he failed to fulfill his due obligations. Not only did Lin Zhuxiao almost fall on the spot, but he also almost caused a big disaster for the Lin family. If it weren't for the fact that he had been loyal to the Lin family for many years, he would have died miserably, and even his wife, children, and the family behind him would have died without a burial place. Lin Zhao's pupils shrank, and he once again felt the power coming from the heir of a top family. A 7th-grade war emperor is enough to support a first-class wealthy family with a respected status. But in Lin Zhuzhou's mouth, he was scolded and driven like a slave. Is this the power of authority? Compared to the shock in Lin Zhao's heart, Lin Zhuxiao looked at Ashan's leaving figure, looking frightened and angry. He stared at his elder brother with a swollen face, dissatisfaction and aggrieved on his face. Brother, why do you touch my people for no reason? I don't accept it. I don't accept it. Tonight, I let Chen Beiyuan bully me like that. The Lin family let a little brat bully me like that. You don't even dare to fart. You are holding a fire in your heart, and you want to mess with my people when you come back? What's the point of messing with your own people? You have the ability to mess with outsiders. Go mess with Chen Beiyuan. You are just a bastard. Why don't you dare to fight with Chen Beiyuan? When he was outside before, Lin Zhuxiao was obviously scared of being beaten and could only pretend to be dead. But now that he was back home, with his parents here, his courage suddenly returned, and his whole person became hardened. I saw him with his head cocked and his head raised high, looking majestic and unyielding. However, before he could hold on for 3 seconds, Lin Zhuzhou's 3 loud slaps instantly dispelled his arrogance. How dare you tell me that there is a gangster in the nest? And who is the gangster in the nest? You have no idea? If I hadn't arrived in time tonight, you would have been dead. Do you really think Chen Beiyuan doesn't dare to kill you? Lin Zhuzhou was obviously angered by the stupid brother in front of him. Even the self-cultivation of the young master of the aristocratic family was forgotten. Do you know how much trouble you got into tonight? Why did you go to provoke Chen Beiyuan when you had nothing to do? And go to war with the Chen family on behalf of the Lin family? Are you crazy? How do you get the qualifications? Your brother, I'm not dead yet. The Lin family hasn't changed its heir yet. If you weren't my biological brother, I would have strangled you to death when we were at the Empire Club. Tonight, at least a dozen affiliated forces under the Lin family were exterminated by the Chen family. More than dozens of families suffered heavy losses and were robbed of a large amount of resources. The Lin family has been completely embarrassed by you. If I hadn't arrived in time, bowed my head to Chen Beiyuan, and made the big thing trivial, the Lin family's losses would have been even greater. How could you still stand in front of me? The more Lin Jiuzhou talked, the angrier he became. He grabbed Lin Jiuxiao and slapped her several times. Perhaps because he felt that it was not enough to relieve his anger, Lin Jiuzhou threw his brother who had been beaten to the ground and roared, "Come here, tie him up for me, and I will do the housework myself." Lin Jiuxiao, whose mind was in a state of confusion as soon as he heard that he was being beaten into a pig's head by asking for expert skills, suddenly became excited and hugged his eldest brother's thigh. Big brother, I am your biological brother." Before he could awaken his eldest brother's brotherly love with his miserable howl, several servants came up with ropes, pushed the man to the ground, and tied him up like a butchered pig. Even Lin Xiao, who was watching the show, was pushed to the ground and tied together. A Lin Xiao? What the hell? Are you being punished even while watching a play? Lin Xiao subconsciously wanted to resist, but looking at the several 7th-grade war emperors who exuded terrifying auras who appeared around them at some unknown time, they still chose to endure it. Soon, Lin Xiao and Lin Jiuxiao, brothers and sisters, were stripped naked, hung up, and had their cultivation levels sealed. At this moment, Lin Jiuzhou also had a black whip with a serrated blade in his hand, glowing with cold light. Seeing the long black whip in her eldest brother's hand, tied up in the air, naked, like a piglet, Lin Jiuxiao was so frightened that she almost peed, and she quickly let out a miserable howl. Dad, come and save me. Stop yelling. The matter is so big. Dad went to the 3rd war zone to find the head of the Chen family. At this time, you still don't know how much trouble you have caused? Snapped. The long black whip struck the two of them, causing a burst of ghostly cries and wolf howls. The two people who had their cultivations sealed were unable to use their fighting spirit and could only resist with their physical bodies. Lin Xiao was almost cursing at this moment. Since joining the Lin family, he has not enjoyed other benefits, so he has been beaten. Before joining the Lin family, he was beaten by Chen Beiyuan. After joining the Lin family, he was beaten by the Lin family. He was beaten every time. He didn't join the Lin family for nothing. What made Lin Xiao even more scolded was that Lin Jiuzhou clearly favored his own people. It was obvious that he had strength when he hit his own brother. When you hit him, it was like hitting an enemy. You were really beating him to death. F***K your mother. Chapter 55, Part 1. The Long Family, the Ancestral Home. After several days of cutting the flesh with blunt knives, the once glorious Long family had all its properties divided up, leaving only a remote ancestral home. Even the other Long family members couldn't stand the successive tragedies, so they fell apart and fled for their lives. But even so, those who coveted it still didn't stop. After all, the current ancestral home of the Long family, which covers a large area, is still very valuable. Even some second-rate families will be tempted by it. However, when Leng Ruobing left the Empire Club in a daze and returned to Leng's house, he found that some of the people who had been hovering near Leng's house had disappeared without a trace. Obviously, Chen Beiyuan's words took effect. Everything before ends here. The last place where the Leng family settled down was saved. Even those who covet it must accept this reality, no matter how unwilling they are. The Donghua Chen family is not someone they can mess with. Tonight, the Lin family, which is also a top family, was punished by the Chen family. No one dares to ignore the power of the Empire's first gun. If you want to get shot, you can continue. It will be fun if you are covered in blood. Dad, I'm back. Leng Ruobing walked into Leng's house numbly and came to the innermost room. In the room, there was a middle-aged man lying on the bed at the moment, wearing an oxygen mask, with a large number of needles inserted into his body and infusing nutrient solution, and a large number of medical equipment were placed around him. This person is none other than the head of the Leng family, Leng Ruobing. However, at this moment, his situation was not good. The head of the Leng family was attacked by a mysterious beast before, resulting in severe damage. Not only was his cultivation completely ruined, he also fell into a deep coma. Fortunately, he was discovered early by kind people and sent directly to the hospital for emergency treatment. Originally, this should be a good thing. At least one life could be saved. Unfortunately, Leng Ruobing was halfway through rescuing him when the Leng family members arrived and snatched him back from the rescue room. Later, he forced Leng Ruobing to come back from Donghua Academy with the dying Leng Ruobing, saying that he would send him back to rescue him when others came back. This wave of operations can be described as showing off to the extreme. When Leng Ruobing was pushed into the rescue room again, he was completely disabled. The consciousness of the head of the Leng family has completely collapsed, leaving only a shell. To put it simply, he has become a vegetative state. I will never wake up in this life. Leng Ruobing walked to the bed and looked at her father on the bed. She tried her best to squeeze out a smile on her face, but it turned out to be uglier than crying. Dad, the Leng family is saved. Those people won't bother us anymore. When I get my mother back, our family can be together again. Leng Ruobing's mother, Mrs. Long, who suddenly fell into a deep coma due to a strange illness, mysteriously disappeared when the Long family was surrounded by various forces. At this moment, after saving the last shelter of the Long family, Leng Ruobing's first reaction was to find her missing mother. The family can stay together in peace and contentment. However, she still thought of things too simply. When the people who had been coveting the Long family's ancestral home evacuated, those Long family members who had fled received the news immediately and rushed back as fast as possible. As a member of the Long family, they naturally have their share of this ancestral home. How could it be used by Leng Ruobing and her damn dad? At the same time, Chen Beiyuan also returned to the Chen family at this moment. However, he did not go back to the room directly to see the weird dragon egg in the blood pool. Instead, he immediately came to a side room next to him. In the side room, a maid from the Chen family was busy at the moment. After seeing Chen Beiyuan come in, she quickly stood up and saluted, "Young Master Beiyuan, you get out first." Chen Beiyuan waved his hand and signaled the other party to leave. After the maid left, Chen Beiyuan suddenly said to the heir, "Mr. Chen, help me guard the door and don't let anyone in." "Good." Mr. Chen, who had been hiding in the shadows, agreed and appeared directly outside. He sat on the steps boldly, holding a bloody and rusty broken knife in his hand, guarding the door like a god of death. After everything was arranged, Chen Beiyuan walked alone into the only bedroom in the side room. I saw a plump and attractive young woman who looked like a ripe peach lying on the bed in the bedroom. The cold and charming young woman's appearance was somewhat similar to Leng Ruobing's, but she was more mature and attractive. If Leng Ruobing is a budding snow lotus, then the cold and charming young woman in front of her is a charming rose with thorns. If Leng Ruobing were at the scene, he would be surprised to find that the cold and charming young woman in front of him is her missing mother and Bu. Chen Beiyuan walked slowly to the bed, looked at the cold and charming young woman who fell into a coma in front of him, and suddenly said, "This is the end of the Long family's affairs." The cold and charming young woman and Bu still didn't react at all, and she still looked like she was in a coma. However, Chen Beiyuan suddenly grabbed her wrist, ignoring the silky touch, and directly took her pulse. "Your disguise is very good. You can even control your pulse. It's no problem to deceive ordinary people, but it still seems too obvious in front of me. I will know whether you are unconscious or not as soon as you get started." And Bu, who had been in a coma, heard Chen Beiyuan's words. Her delicate body trembled, and she opened her eyes suddenly, and a terrifying pressure burst out from her body and pressed towards Chen Beiyuan. 7th grade war king. No one expected that this madam of the Long family would actually be a 7th grade war emperor. The 7th grade war emperor is the standard equipment of a first-class family. Even in the Donghua Empire, it has high-end combat power. If the Long family had a 7th grade war emperor, they would have already become a first-class family, instead of being stuck at the bottom of the second tier. And the sudden appearance of the unfamiliar 7th grade war emperor's aura instantly caused a chain reaction in the Chen family. In an instant, no less than a dozen figures exuding a terrifying aura appeared outside the room, instantly surrounding it. At the same time, there was a steady stream of figures directly blocking all exit channels. The secret passage below the Chen family instantly resounded with the sound of armor being worn, and an army wearing armor appeared silently. In an instant, the seemingly silent Chen family turned into a war fortress, and the air was filled with a chilling atmosphere, as if a terrifying volcano was about to erupt. However, when the dozen or so terrifying figures surrounding the room saw old Empress Qin guarding the room like a murderous god outside the door, they were stunned for a moment, and immediately seemed to understand something. Suddenly, the terrifying murderous aura in the air dissipated instantly. The figures guarding the exits of various channels of the Qin family disappeared without a trace. The armored army that appeared quietly also suddenly disappeared, and there was a subtle sound of armor being removed from the secret passage. The dozen or so terrifying figures surrounding the house bowed deeply to Mr. Qin, who was guarding the door, and then disappeared. The entire Qin family fell into calm again. Everything is as if it never happened. Chapter 56, Part 1. Inside the house, and Bu's cold face suddenly turned white. Her cold and wary eyes were instantly covered with fear. Her delicate body trembled, and the terrifying aura emanating from her body disappeared instantly. Just now, she could clearly feel the overwhelming killing intent sweeping over her, almost drowning her. Even though she has the cultivation level of a 7th grade war emperor, she is nothing more than an ant in the face of such great momentum. The cold and arrogant look on her face disappeared instantly, and instead she showed a bit of tenderness and weakness. She originally thought of using her own cultivation aura to suppress the man in front of her who dared to belittle her, but she didn't expect that the man in front of her remained unmoved from beginning to end and had no influence at all. On the contrary, she, because of this move, walked directly into the door of hell. Chen Beiyuan smiled, and was not surprised by her reaction. He put down the silky wrist in his hand, gently touched her pale face, and whispered softly, Mrs. Long, you are too impulsive. After all, I am also your benefactor. If it weren't for me, you wouldn't have unlocked the soul-eating curse so quickly and restored your previous memories and cultivation. It's not good to retaliate for kindness. Although the 7th grade War Emperor's cultivation is powerful, it is nothing to the Chen family. He is not qualified to act wildly. Here, even if the 8th grade War Emperor comes, he has to pay a price. This is the Donghua Chen family? Are you Chen Beiyuan? And Biyu's pupils were shocked, and her cold face was full of shock. The memories sealed by the soul-eating curse began to be completely unlocked and merged together. With the fusion of memories, her cold face gradually became crazy, as if she was recalling the past. At this moment, even if Leng Ruobing was present, it would be difficult to combine the Biyu in front of her with her former mother. Soon, Biyu's expression gradually returned to calm, as if the ferociousness just now had never appeared, but her rapid breathing and undulating chest indicated her inner unrest. That cold face stared at the man in front of her. Do you know my true identity? Of course I know, the former Miao Saintess, the successor of Emperor Gu. Chen Beiyuan ignored Biyu's cold eyes and said meaningfully, in the original work, each luck heroine has her own strong background and special opportunities. Leng Ruobing is not surprised either. On the surface, Leng Ruobing, the number 1 luck heroine, is just the legitimate daughter of a second-rate small family. In terms of strength and background, she has been instantly reduced to scum by the other luck heroines, and she is almost at the bottom of the list. However, how is this possible? Chen Beiyuan knows very well that the cold luck may be the strongest among all luck heroines. The secret to her cheating is her mother and Biyu. I'm afraid even Leng Ruobing doesn't know clearly that her taciturn and cold-tempered mother is not a simple person, not an ordinary person. Her mother, and Biyu, had an extraordinary background. She was a saintess of the Miao Gu tribe, and the heir to the Emperor Gu. The Miaojiang Gu clan is a top force that is good at refining Gu and driving Gu insects. Those who can be called the top forces naturally have the existence of the 8th grade War Emperor. At its peak, the Miaojiang Gu clan was powerful, and its strength was almost comparable to some of the top families in the empire. The female Gu Emperor, who has ruled the entire Miao territory for hundreds of years, has an extremely powerful Emperor Gu in her hands. Even the Donghua Empire has to be respected to a certain extent. However, a person's lifespan is limited, even for the 8th grade Gu Emperor. In this urban world of entertainment, although the body refining system developed is powerful, it has a huge flaw, that is, it cannot live forever. Even the 8th grade War Emperor only has a lifespan of 500 years at most. According to some fairy cultivation novels, the body refining system in this world has the ability to protect the Tao, but it has no immortality effect. Normally, when the 8th grade Gu Emperor's lifespan is about to expire and there is no successor, the Miaojiang Gu clan will definitely fall from the top power. However, although the mysterious female Gu Emperor died, her Emperor Gu was still alive. Before she died, the female Gu Emperor used her Emperor body as nourishment and let her Emperor Gu devour her to help her grow. As a price, the bloodline descendants of this female Gu Emperor will have the ability to control Emperor Gu after they reach 7th grade and fight against the queen. That Emperor Gu originally had a terrifying combat power comparable to that of an 8th grade ferocious beast. After devouring the Emperor body of the female Gu Emperor, it became even more terrifying. It is precisely with the existence of this Emperor Gu that the Miaojiang Gu clan has not fallen from the top power and still maintains its due status, but is slightly declining. And Biyu is the direct bloodline of the female Gu Emperor, and she is also the previous Miao Saintess, the chosen successor of Emperor Gu. Normally, she would take over the top force of the Miaojiang Gu clan and become one of the top, powerful people in the world. It's a pity that this Miao Saintess was stabbed in the back by one of his own people the night before the Emperor Gu inheritance ceremony. She was seriously injured. Although she managed to escape, she lost all her memory and cultivation because of the soul-eating curse and became an ordinary person. After Biyu mysteriously disappeared, another woman with the blood of the female Gu Emperor took over her position of Saintess and became the heir of Emperor Gu. And what happened next was naturally obvious. Biyu, who lost her cultivation and memory and became an ordinary person, met Leng Alfing, the head of the Long family, and became Mrs. Long. In the original work, Biyu, under Lin Zhao's treatment, successfully unlocked the soul-eating curse and restored the 7th grade War Emperor's cultivation and all his memories. This former Miao Saintess was also a ruthless person. After recovering his memory and cultivation, he decisively left the Long family and returned to Miao for revenge, hoping to take back everything. After experiencing a bloody storm, she actually succeeded. Not only did he successfully kill his former enemy, he also regained the support of the Miao Gu clan. However, she paid a heavy price at that time and died soon. Ever since, Biyu made a decision. That is to make his daughter Leng Ruobing the next Miaojiang Saintess and the heir of Emperor Gu. Look, what is a lucky heroine? This is called the lucky heroine. I was lying there, doing nothing, while my mother was working hard in front of me, and her life was almost gone. In the end, all the benefits went to her. Ridiculous enough. While other luck heroines were still working hard to train in anticipation of becoming the 8th Grade War Emperor, Leng Ruobing just sacrificed a biological mother, and now he had an Emperor Gu that was more terrifying than the 8th grade beast. Chapter 57, Part 1. Unfortunately, in the original work, Leng Ruobing, the lucky heroine, was still too low in cultivation when she obtained the Emperor Gu. As a result, she was unable to drive this terrifying existence in the early and middle stages. On the contrary, the Emperor Gu would only choose to take action when she was in a life-or-death crisis. A good active skill was turned into a passive skill by the luck heroine. It wasn't until late stage, when the collision between the original body and son of fortune Lin Shao came to a head, that Leng Ruobing improved his cultivation and reached the 7th Grade War Emperor, finally able to take the initiative to control Emperor Gu. However, at that time, the original person had already become an emperor and was holding down the blaster of Lin Shao, the son of fortune. TSK. If it were replaced by several other talented lucky heroines, they would be able to take off very quickly after getting Emperor Gu. No matter what, it is an Emperor Gu that is even more ferocious than the 8th grade ferocious beast. Even Chen Beiyuan is very greedy. After all, this is a terrifying combat power that is comparable to that of the 8th grade war emperor and even slightly exceeds it. Knowing the plot of the original work, he would naturally not let such an opportunity pass by. For this reason, he asked someone to catch the important person and BU in advance and started the layout. And the so-called soul-eating curse was easily solved in front of him, who was armed with the wordless medical scripture, without the involvement of Lin Shao, the miracle doctor protagonist. Those who do not plan for the overall situation cannot plan for one area. Not only that Emperor Gu, but also the top force of the Miaojianggu clan. I want to hold it in my hands and drive it for me. The Donghuachen family occupies the north, and the Miao Gu clan occupies the south. The north and the south face each other and are under my control. Leng Ruobing's character is still too naive and too unstable to bear the burden of controlling the top force of the Miaojianggu clan. On the contrary, Nbu, a woman who is top-notch in terms of temperament and means, is more important. The thing is, this woman has a weakness that I can use to my advantage. As early as when he came to this world, Chen Beiyuan began to lay out. During this period, Leng Ruobing, the lucky heroine, was subjected to many tests. It's a pity that Leng Ruobing disappointed him so much. Not only did he have a childish personality, he also broke down easily, became desperate, and fell into confusion. Maybe her character will undergo a transformation on late stage. But Chen Beiyuan doesn't have that much free time to play with her. Since you can't help him up, just be a chess piece to contain Nbu. To be honest, personally, Chen Beiyuan appreciates Nbu, a cold and charming young woman, even more. To a certain extent, this woman is an enhanced version of Leng Ruobing, but unfortunately, she does not have the luck blessing of the protagonist. In the end, all the efforts were spent on making a wedding dress for my daughter. This time, Chen Beiyuan is ready to support Nbu to control the entire Miao Gu clan and win the Emperor Gu opportunity that should have belonged to Leng Ruobing. Go to TM's original plot, and go to TM's fate. There is no such thing as destiny. In the original work, the reason why Nbu died was because she was assassinated many times on the way to revenge, which left a foreshadowing of her downfall. But even so, before she died, she sent away all her previous enemies and regained the Emperor Gu. This time, with his support behind him, Nbu's fate of death will not appear like in the original work, and he will also master a terrifying combat power comparable to the 8th grade war emperor in a short period of time. As for whether Nbu will be obedient, Chen Beiyuan is not worried. It is undeniable that this proud woman is indeed extraordinary, but as long as we are human, we will have weaknesses. But at this moment, Nbu, whose true identity was revealed, instantly fell into silence. Since Chen Beiyuan was able to reveal her true identity, he probably already knew a lot about her. This man is not simple. When she regained her memory and cultivation, she discovered that a special toxin had been administered to her body, which forcibly suppressed her cultivation and strength. The outburst of momentum just now was just a bluff. Essentially, at this moment, she was equivalent to a white tiger with its limbs tied and its claws sealed, and in the end she just howled a few times to scare people. It's a pity that the person was not frightened, but instead exposed his weak nature and could only let it be manipulated. Especially when Chen Beiyuan's palm caressed and slapped her face, she felt that her dignity was being humiliated. Chen Beiyuan looked at the silent Nbu in front of him with dark eyes, as if admiring a rare treasure, and said in a gentle voice, "Mrs. Long, I not only know your identity, but also everything you have ever been. I can help you. Don't you want revenge? You were betrayed by the person closest to you and almost died. You really don't have any resentment at all. Because of the soul-eating curse, you have been living in a state of confusion for nearly 20 years. Everything that should have belonged to you has been inherited by your enemy at this moment. The light that should have belonged to you and your glory have been robbed by her. The Miaogu tribe will reselect a new saintess every 20 years. There is still half a year to go. That is your best chance. I can help you regain everything you have lost. The inheritance of the Miaogu clan is extremely special, and a new saintess will be selected every 20 years. The previous saintess will also die soon after the alternation ceremony. The Emperor Gu, with top combat power, is not that easy to use. It can be said that this thing costs one's life to support it. Unless you can break through the 8th Grade War Emperor, the heir can only live for about 20 years. And Beiyu's body trembled, and she felt that Chen Beiyuan in front of her suddenly became mysterious and unpredictable, and her eyes, stained by magic, seemed to see through everything about her. A strange feeling of humiliation began to well up in her heart. However, she was obviously moved by Chen Beiyuan's words at this moment. After all, those words almost spoke to her heart. What do you want? And Beiyu asked hoarsely. She knows very well that there is no free lunch in this world. If you have a plan, you must have a big picture. She has been mentally prepared. As long as Chen Beiyuan's conditions are not excessive, she can accept them. However, what Chen Beiyuan said next made her cold, charming, and delicate face instantly turn ugly. Even the anger in his eyes could not be suppressed at all. At this moment, Chen Beiyuan was caressing her face and saying the coldest words gently. Mrs. Long, I need a dog that is obedient and bites people. Can you be my dog? You. And Beiyu blushed, and the anger in her eyes almost burned the man in front of her to death. But Chen Beiyuan turned a blind eye and continued to care for himself and said gently, Of course, you can refuse, but I don't know what will happen to your husband, who is paralyzed in bed and has become a vegetative state, and your beautiful daughter. Madam, you don't want anything to happen to them. Chapter 58, Part 1. Wasn't the woman Leng Ruobing kept just for this time? Otherwise, when Chen Beiyuan first transmigrated over, he would have chopped off Leng Ruobing's head. Dare to join forces with son of Fortune Lin, shout a plot against him? Do you really think he can't lift the knife? The reason why the Empire Club proposed to end the matter here and leave a glimmer of hope for the Long family and his daughter was simply because they still had a certain use value. Chen Beiyuan still had a warm smile on his face, but his eyes were cold and indifferent, without any warmth at all, as if they were like a piece of ice that lasted 10,000 years. At this moment, Chen Beiyuan finally took off his previous disguise and revealed another side of himself to outsiders for the first time. Although he didn't say a word, his expression showed his attitude. And Beiyu's flushed face suddenly turned white, and the anger in her eyes disappeared instantly. That indifferent and ruthless gaze could almost make her feel as if she was in an abyss, being swallowed bit by the abyss. She never dreamed that she would see such a look on an 18-year-old boy. It is a kind of indifference and ruthlessness to all things in the world, just like the way of heaven. Heaven is also sentimental and ruthless. At this moment, she knew very well that the man in front of her was not joking. As long as she doesn't agree, I'm afraid that in an instant, the heads of her daughter and her husband will be placed in front of her. I see. And Beiyu's cold and charming face showed hesitation and struggle for a moment, but in the end it turned into silence, and she lowered her proud head little by little. It was obvious that she had made her own decision, and this is what Chen Beiyuan appreciates most about her. Only children tell right from wrong, but adults only talk about naked interests. The scene at this moment, if it had been any other woman, would have led to a drama of stubborn resistance in which she would rather die than give in. But for Beiyu, bowing her head and surrendering seems to have become her most preferred choice at present. As long as the great revenge can be avenged and the person you love most can be protected, then everything is worth it. At most, it is just being treated as a dog. Madam, I appreciate you more and more. When Chen Beiyuan saw the other party surrender, the cold indifference in his eyes quickly dissipated, and a touch of warmth emerged in his eyes, and he suddenly said, It's just, ma'am, dogs don't behave like this when they're in front of their owners. And Beiyu's body trembled, and immediately she closed her eyes, holding on to her weak body, crawling to the ground little by little, kneeling on the ground, hugging Chen Beiyuan's thigh, like an obedient dog, enjoying the master's palm caresses. Owner. A cold, charming voice sounded, carrying a strange charm. Seeing that Beiyu got into the role so quickly, Chen Beiyuan also nodded with satisfaction. Sure enough, the biggest difference between a girl and a young woman is this. It would be hard for Leng Ruobing to be like her mother even if she was beaten to death. In the final analysis, I still haven't experienced the beatings from society. I just don't know what Leng Ruobing would think if she saw her biological mother kneeling in front of Chen Beiyuan. A playful smile appeared on Chen Beiyuan's lips. Normally, when seeing a beautiful woman kneeling in front of her, a normal man will be impulsive. But Chen Beiyuan was not tempted by the beauty in front of him, but remained calm. Sometimes, power is more attractive than beauty. When your power is overwhelming, those women who once longed for, but could not ask for talents will kneel in front of you. Although Miao territory is located in the south and is mostly in barren mountains and rivers, it occupies a huge area, which is no less than the territory of Donghua Chen family at the moment. And there are still a lot of untapped resources hidden. Once the Gu clan in Miao territory can be controlled and gradually expand their influence, they can control this Miao territory. TSK, TSK, TSK. I'm afraid that the Donghua Chen family's territory will surpass everyone, including the imperial royal family. Tell me about the Miao Gu clan. If you were able to become a Miao saintess before, you must have your own power. And Biyu was able to regain the position of saintess in the original work. It was absolutely impossible to do it alone. It was really unbelievable. There must be support from someone within the Gu clan. And these things in the original work were all boring plots that were brushed off. But this moment is very important for Chen Beiyuan. Master, however, that bitch, has controlled the Miao Gu clan for nearly 20 years, and she must have cultivated her own power. My power back then must have been suppressed and dispersed by her, so it is difficult to borrow power. However, Master, I have the most orthodox Gu Emperor blood flowing in my body. That damn bitch is just a collateral bloodline. The Gu clan is the place that pays the most attention to the inheritance of blood. As long as I go back, those who pay the most attention to blood all the elders will turn to support me, including the most stubborn elder of the Gu clan. And Emperor Gu was made a blood oath by my ancestors back then. Unless her descendants betrayed the Gu clan, they would never harm her descendants. This means that the bitch did not know how to use this ultimate method to deal with me. And Biyu lowered her head and calmly recounted her plan. Whenever she mentioned the bitch, who took everything away from her, her voice would always become cold and cold. It was obvious that she really hated her to the core of her bones. Lin, the crouching dragon and phoenix chick, who had been hung up and whipped for 2.5 hours, was finally put down and sent to her room. A professional pharmacist from the Lin family came over and started applying medicine to the two people who were suffering from wounds. Brother Lin, this time, it's all thanks to you. Lin Jiuxiao, who had been whipped half to death, looked at Lin Xiao, whose skin and flesh were torn in front of him, and who was wrapped up like a mummy and remained motionless, with a face full of emotion. Thanks to Lin Xiao, the son of fortune, he withstood the greatest pressure from his eldest brother. Otherwise, he would really be doomed. It had only been 2.5 hours, and he fainted after less than half an hour. Then, let Lin Xiao finish the remaining 2 hours for him. Good brother, in my heart. From now on, you and I will be good brothers who share weal and woe. Whatever I have, you will have too. You are also the 5th grade War Master now. I still have a few millennium spirit medicine on hand. I don't need it now, so I gave them to you. My second sister gave me a treasure map some time ago. I can't understand it, so I gave it to you too. You must not die. With you here, I will feel more at ease when I commit crimes in the future. Lin Jiuxiao hugged the mummy in front of her with a sad look on her face, for fear that Lin Xiao would really die. After his eldest brother's severe beating, his relationship with Lin Xiao heated up rapidly. At the critical moment, it is really good to have a brother who can fight against the enemy. At this moment, Lin Xiao, who was wrapped as a mummy, almost lost his temper when he heard the bastard Lin Jiuxiao's crying expression. However, after hearing the precious spirit medicine and treasures from Lin Jiuxiao, the son of fortune was also very happy. If he wanted to get these things, he would have to pay a high price. But Lin Jiuxiao gave him away casually. This severe beating was not in vain. With these things, his cultivation speed may take off. For a time, Lin Zhao's complaints about Lin Jiuxiao, an unreliable idiot, became a little less, and instead he felt a little more moved. And just when the relationship between the two was heating up, not far outside the door, Lin Jiuxiao was watching silently with his hands behind his back, without saying a word. I'm not that stupid. I know how to win people's hearts. It's not like I wasted all my hard work. Happy Mid-Autumn Festival. Chapter 59, Part 1. A person who can be established as the heir to a top family may have some minor flaws and problems in his character. But in the face of big issues of right and wrong, we must maintain a perspective on the overall situation that is far beyond ordinary people. Otherwise, why should we lead the entire family forward? As the young master of the Lin family, Lin Jiuxiao seems to have never taken Lin Xiao, the miracle doctor, into consideration. But in fact, in his heart, he attached great importance to Lin Xiao. Even to what extent is it taken seriously? Lin Xiao and Lin Jiuxiao had a family law together. This means that Lin Jiuxiao regards Lin Xiao as one of his own. I'm here to see my younger brother. A little guy from a low-level background can actually become a 5th grade War Master at the age of 21. His talent potential is at the top of the empire. Even if he is not as evil as Chen Beiyuan, he is still comparable to many imperial prodigies. How could he not know these things? His many humiliations and suppressions before were actually more like being a white-faced person, waiting for his third brother Lin Jiuxiao to be a good-faced person in order to win the heart of Lin Xiao, a commoner named Prodigy. As a result, Lin Jiuxiao had never been on the road before, so she always pretended to be dead. However, this time, this stupid third brother finally aperture opened once and began to know how to win people's hearts. It made him reluctantly feel relieved. Originally, given Lin Jiuxiao's character, he was prepared to take Lin Xiao as his own. But in the end, after careful consideration, he left this person to his unreliable third brother. I hope that after subduing Lin Xiao, this idiot Zhou Xiao can use his brain more when doing things in the future. Just stop causing me, the big brother, some trouble. Thanks to the absence of the second sister, otherwise you would still have to be beaten. Lin Jiuxiao sighed, looked away, turned around, and chose to leave. He still has a lot of things to do, so naturally he can't continue to waste time here. However, what Lin Jiuxiao didn't know was that shortly after he turned around and left, he's gone. There's no need to continue. In the room, Lin Xiao, who was wrapped like a mummy, suddenly reached out and pushed Lin Jiuxiao, who was talking to himself. The next moment, the whole room fell into dead silence. This pair of crouching dragon and phoenix chicks instantly stared at each other. Lin Jiuxiao's face seemed to change. The sadness on his face disappeared without a trace in an instant, but instead revealed a hint of cruelty and madness. Damn it, thank you for reminding me just now, otherwise, I'm afraid I'd still get a beating. Originally, Lin Jiuxiao, who had just finished the whipping and was thrown back into the room, planned to yell at his eldest brother behind his back. At the critical moment, Lin Xiao sensed something was wrong. Someone was peeping in secret. He quickly gave Lin Jiuxiao a look. Lin Jiuxiao reacted immediately and quickly changed his words. Ever since, what was supposed to be a scolding conversation instantly turned into a show of humanity and sophistication. I'm afraid, what even Lin Jiuxiao didn't expect was that he would actually let this pair of crouching dragon and phoenix chick act, and Lin Jiuxiao's so-called red face singing was shown to a blind man. These two people, after receiving so many beatings, had long held a grudge against him. Mad, I really don't think I can see your intention. You want to train me like a dog and make you a dog for the Lin family. You want to be beautiful. I will definitely pay back all the humiliation I suffered before. Sooner or later, I'll kill you. Lin Xiao, who was wrapped as a mummy, had a face full of resentment and cursed secretly in his heart. Obviously, the miracle doctor protagonist also saw Lin Jiuxiao's true intention, and this undoubtedly touched his reverse scale. He just wanted to be the person in charge of the family, but he never thought about being a dog for others. Lin Jiuxiao has been ranked second on his must-kill list. Compared to Lin Zhao's anger and murderous intention after seeing through Lin Jiuxiao's true intentions, Lin Jiuxiao, the third eldest son of the Lin family, seemed much more pure. He was already extremely dissatisfied with his eldest brother, and a certain desire in his heart became even stronger. Just because you are the heir to the Lin family, you can beat me like a dog. I am your biological brother. Even Dad has never beaten me like this. I don't accept it. I don't accept it. Why can you be the young master of the Lin family and enjoy countless honors and worship from others, but I can only be a playboy and a second-generation ancestor? In the final analysis, the eldest brother is still too cowardly, and he knows how to endure it, and the Lin family will be defeated by him sooner or later. Why didn't you choose me to be the heir of the Lin family? If you had chosen me, the Lin family wouldn't be like this. But if I were the young master of the Lin family, what happened tonight would never have happened. How dare Chen Beiyuan touch me? Lin Jiuxiao's heart began to burn with nameless desire due to her own unwillingness and jealousy. Deep down in his heart, his dissatisfaction with his eldest brother has reached its peak. Suddenly, his sister-in-law's graceful and attractive figure appeared in his mind, as well as her stunning face with a charming smile. For a moment, he actually started to stir, as if he had thought of a way to take revenge on his elder brother. But when he thought of his eldest brother's methods, he felt scared again, and he quickly buried this idea deep down, for fear that he would be beaten to death by his eldest brother if he showed any signs of it. But the desire aroused by my sister-in-law is now difficult to suppress. This dandy boy who loves married women instantly felt like there were countless ants crawling on his body. Since my sister-in-law is not available for the time being, maybe I can find a substitute first? For some reason, Lin Jiuxiao suddenly remembered the cold and charming figure in the Empire Club, and he froze in place as if possessed by an evil spirit. That woman seems to be called Leng Ruobing, one of the four beauties in Yinjing. It seems that Chen Beiyuan has also played with him. Wouldn't that be a wife? Lin Jiuxiao's eyes lit up. Isn't that his favorite? Anyway, that woman, Chen Beiyuan, is tired of playing around with her, so it should be nothing for him to play around with. Besides, if Chen Beiyuan has fun, Lin Jiuxiao can't. If Chen Beiyuan F*** had him before, Then he would F***K with the woman Chen Beiyuan had played with, which would be regarded as indirect revenge. For a moment, he seemed to be in a daze, as the frail figure of Leng Ruobing kept appearing in his mind. Hiss. Lin Jiuxiao swallowed. He has never played with something of this level. That is one of the 4 beauties in Yinjing. He didn't dare to covet the other 3, but Leng Ruobing could give it a try. He suddenly looked at Lin Xiao beside him and said in a low voice, "Brother Lin, I remember that you seem to have Leng Ruobing's contact information. When I recover from my injury in the past few days, you can ask her out for me. Don't worry, you will benefit from it afterwards." Oh? Lin Xiao looked confused, as if he hadn't followed the other person's thinking, until Lin Jiuxiao revealed his intention. Lin Zhao's face turned green instantly, and he felt a green light filling the top of his head. Leng Ruobing is the woman he loves most in his heart. He himself was reluctant to take action. Lin Jiuxiao, the bastard, has an idea? He instinctively wanted to refuse, but the other party gave him too much. So much so that he was a little tempted. Previously, Ruobing failed to sell Chen Beiyuan at a good price, but was given away for nothing. This time, Lin Jiuxiao can be sold at a good price. Okay, I promise you. Lin Xiao forced a smile. Lin Jiuxiao was also overjoyed and couldn't help but put his arms around Lin Zhao's shoulders and praised, "Brother Lin, don't worry, we are brothers in our hearts." Mad, you really treat me as a brother, but you still want to F***K my goddess? Lin Xiao is so angry. Lin Jiuxiao was silently included in the 3rd place on the must-kill list. Chen's house, bedroom. Chen Beiyuan still didn't know that Lin Xiao and Lin Jiuxiao, the pair of sleeping dragons and phoenixes, were planning to cause trouble again. At this moment, after listening to Beiyu's story, he finally had a general understanding of the top force of the Miaojianggu clan, and he also had some ideas for the next things. Chapter 59, Part 2. At this moment, he suddenly discovered that Beiyu, a cold and charming young woman, seemed to have been kneeling on the ground for a long time. As the young master of a top aristocratic family, his self-cultivation is still very high, even if the other party voluntarily becomes his dog at this moment. But as the master, he still maintains a certain respect for him. It's obviously not good to make people kneel all the time. It's better to find a better way. Ma'am, please sit down. Chapter 60, Part 1. Chen Beiyuan doesn't believe in people's hearts. People's hearts will always change. He is not God and cannot be omniscient or omnipotent. Although Leng Ruobing and his daughter can be used as a weak point to control Beiyu, a cruel and beautiful young woman, but Chen Beiyuan will naturally not forget to lay out some special means that are unique to him. It just so happens that there are several poisons that are extremely important to the 7th grade war emperor in the wordless medical classic, which can directly act on the deep blood vessels. As long as it is activated, it can be killed in one blow. Unless Beiyu can successfully break through the 8th grade war emperor and condense the emperor's body. Otherwise, you will never be able to get rid of the bloodline poison condensed by various toxins in your body for the rest of your life. With this level of means, Chen Beiyuan felt relieved about Beiyu. At this moment, Beiyu, who had unlocked the soul-eating curse, had just recovered her cultivation and memory, and it would take a period of recovery before she could return to her peak. You will stay in the Chen family for the time being and regain your previous strength as soon as possible. I will prepare all the resources you need for you. When the time is right, you will return to the Miao territory first, start looking for opportunities to launch a coup, and take back everything that belonged to you before. With my support behind you, you are destined to become the new king of the Miao territory Gu tribe. Okay, master. Sitting Beiyu humbly agreed. In the blink of an eye, another 2 days passed. For the past 2 days, Chen Beiyuan has been staying in the room to meditate on the Zhuoang Dao Sutra, transforming into heaven and earth, integrating with heaven and earth, and his mental power began to increase rapidly. It has to be said that Chen Beiyuan, the destined villain, is definitely the best in the world in terms of talent and understanding. Zhuoang Dao Jing, the mystery of this 8th grade technique, is not inferior to the prison-suppressing demon Jing he majored in. It would probably take an ordinary practitioner decades, or even hundreds of years to understand the true meaning. After all, cultivation depends on talent's understanding. If you understand, you understand. If you don't understand, you don't understand. But after Chen Beiyuan got hold of the Zhuoang Dao Jing, he initially understood its secrets, began to incarnate himself into the world, and directly came into contact with the true meaning of the Tao Jing. Such talent's understanding can be described as terrifying. In just 2 days, he completely mastered this terrifying Taoist scripture. His own mental power has more than doubled. The Zhuoang Dao Sutra is indeed mysterious. It not only strengthens the spirit and contains the soul, but also allows me to integrate with this world and increase the speed of cultivation. As long as I enter the sitting and forgetfulness state, the speed of my cultivation will be at least 150% faster than before. With the current speed of cultivation, in 3 months at most, we can consider breaking through to the 6th grade War King. Chen Beiyuan slowly opened his eyes. His dark eyes were as deep as black holes, containing the power to destroy all things. Boom! Outside the retreat, the terrifying spiritual power began to release, stirring up the situation. Suddenly, a huge spirit chi vortex was set off, frantically absorbing the spirit chi from the surrounding world. Such a huge movement instantly alarmed the entire Chen family. Figures exuding a terrifying aura appeared instantly and gathered outside Chen Beiyuan's room. What a terrifying mental power. I'm afraid that compared to those 6th-grade war kings who specialize in spirituality, they don't have such powerful mental power. If I hadn't been able to confirm that the person inside was young Master Beiyuan, I might have mistaken him for a certain peak 6th-grade war king. Young Master Beiyuan is currently at the peak of 5th grade. I'm afraid he will soon be able to break through to the 6th-grade battle king. In just 1 year, he has broken through several major realms in succession. Young Master Beiyuan is indeed extremely talented and possesses the qualifications of a 9th-grade god of war. Those gathered here were almost all the elders of the Donghua Chen family, and almost all were 7th-grade war emperors, who were the most important heritage of the Chen family. Among them, there are even a few frightening old men who are senile and whose cultivation levels are unfathomable. The leader was an old man with an old face and cloudy eyes, leaning on a dragon-headed crutch. This person is Chen Longxiao, the eldest elder of the Chen family. This great elder has lived for nearly 300 years. His seniority is so high that even the 8th-grade war emperor Chen Shanha, who is far away on the border front, is his junior. Zhiqing has given birth to a good son. With such a Qilin son around, our Chen family will be able to prosper for at least 1,000 years. The great elder couldn't help but admired while leaning on a dragon-headed crutch. Suddenly, his cloudy eyes looked towards a room next to him. At this moment, Chen Beiyuan, who was in the side room next to her, was also startled by Chen Beiyuan's huge movements. But before she could react, a group of old monsters exuding terrifying cultivation suddenly appeared around her. Even the weakest one is much stronger than she was in her prime. Surrounded by so many terrifying old monsters, even Chen Beiyuan, who has a strong mind, felt a little trembling. Is this the background of the Chen family in Donghua? No, this should only be part of it. The real headquarters of the Chen family is in the north, and only those who stay here. I'm afraid that the Miaojianggu clan was not as powerful as the Donghua Chen family at its peak. At this moment, Chen Beiyuan suddenly felt a pressure as strong as the sky, as if the whole world was beginning to collapse. However, this force of heavenly power came and went away just as quickly. Chen Beiyuan's face turned pale. She could hardly stand. Her eyes were full of disbelief. Is that the Emperor's power? No, it seems a little weak. As a former saintess of the Miao territory, Chen Beiyuan has also been exposed to Emperor Gu, and naturally has experienced the pressure of the Emperor level. The coercion just now gave her the fear of facing the Emperor level, but something seemed to be missing. But no matter what, it was not an existence she could face head-on. At this moment, the elder, who was leaning on a dragon-head crutch, withdrew his gaze and didn't pay much attention to Chen Beiyuan's presence. Who hasn't been young and frivolous? After all, Chen Beiyuan is only 18 years old. As long as it doesn't delay his journey, it doesn't matter if he spends a lot of time having fun. Those are all small sections. Why is there a trace of Emperor Gu in that woman? Is she from the Miaojianggu clan? A direct bloodline of the female Gu emperor? The great elder was the great elder, and his eyes were venomous. With just one glance, he could roughly guess Chen Beiyuan's identity. However, he guessed it, and he had no intention of asking the question to the end. Taking care of everything will only make people annoying. The future world belongs to young people, so let young people figure it out on their own. As an old man from the old days, the most he can do is clear the obstacles for young people at critical moments. Such a huge movement in the Chen family not only alarmed their own people, even all the forces in Yinjing were alarmed. For a moment, a terrifying will began to look in the direction of the Chen family. Chapter 61, Part 1. Bai family. Dressed in white, with white temples, the elegant and easygoing head of the Bai family, Bai Yinyun, stood up abruptly and looked in the direction of the Chen family with a look of astonishment. His eyes seemed to be in disbelief. It has only been a few days, but I have made a new breakthrough. With such terrifying mental power, I am afraid that I will soon be able to break through the 6th-grade war king and stand on the same level as those top prodigies in the empire. He is only 18 years old. With his talent, he is destined to be another 8th-grade war emperor. The Chen family, I'm afraid, is about to reach a higher level again. Thinking of this, even Bai Yinyun became a little worried. Although Chen Beiyuan is engaged to his daughter Bai Ruobing and is the future uncle of the Bai family, but can Bai Ruobing really be able to tie down Chen Beiyuan? With the terrifying talent that Chen Beiyuan has shown now, I am afraid that it will shock all the forces and have other thoughts. I'm afraid even the royal family will have other ideas. An engagement is just an engagement after all. It's still not safe enough. I hate that old bastard Chen Zhiqing, who keeps saying that his son is still young and has just grown up, so he is not in a hurry to get married and will wait for a few years. Beiyuan was so angry when he thought of this. Such a good son-in-law is too good and too damn coveted. He was already in a bad mood and was attracted by the noise outside. Soon he saw Beiyuan having fun outside, and his blood pressure spiked. Both 18 years old, Chen Beiyuan is almost the 6th grade champion. Is this little bastard just a 4th grade general? It's okay if you don't compare, but when you compare, it's really like the sky and the earth. Niejean, you just know how to play. Lin. Chen Ziqing gave birth to a good son. Lin Shufeng had a majestic face and sharp eyes, looking in the direction of the Chen family. Immediately, he looked at Lin Zhuzhou next to him. However, my son is not bad either. Father is overrated, Lin Zhuzhou said calmly. But in his eyes, one can clearly see a trace of dignity and fighting spirit. Obviously, Chen Beiyuan's cultivation speed was somewhat beyond his expectation. Lin's backyard. After 2 days, Lin Xiao, who had recovered from his injuries, changed slightly and looked in the direction of the Chen family with a cold expression. In the past 2 days, through his relationship with Lin Zhouxiao, he had collected a lot of powerful poisonous bee sacs and used the poison in them to strengthen himself and improve his fighting spirit. His strength has further improved, and he has reached the high level of war commander. I thought I could catch up with Chen Beiyuan's progress. Unexpectedly, it was still a lot worse. The opponent is almost breaking through to the Battle King. It's as if he is living in the other person's shadow. Whenever you make a breakthrough, the other party will reveal a higher level of cultivation. Damn it. Empire Club. Jiang Yunhua stood on a high place, wearing a platinum dress with a phoenix totem tattooed on it, fluttering in the wind, and the fire phoenix seemed to be coming to life. A pair of shining starry eyes looked in the direction of the Chen family with some kind of special emotion. Beiyuan. Donghua University, principal's office. Zhang Baiyi's movements in his hands suddenly stopped, and he looked in the direction of the Chen family. A trace of surprise flashed across his majestic and solemn face. Then, it turned into silence again. It would be great if such a person was born in the Zhang family. Chen Beiyuan's move once again attracted the attention of all forces in Yinjing City. The speed of his cultivation was so fast that it was surprising, shocking, fearful, and frightening. It can be seen that the Chen family will usher in a new peak in the next few hundred years, and the military power in their hands may even be strengthened. This will undoubtedly make some people happy, but also make some people sad. However, when all forces gathered at the Chen family, no one noticed that there seemed to be subtle changes in the location of the third theater of war in the empire. The change didn't appear for long. It just passed by in a flash, as if it was covered up by a powerful force. Then, uncontrollable heroic laughter resounded throughout the war zone. Chen family. The elders of the Chen family who had gathered gradually retreated. In the secret room, Chen Beiyuan absorbed the condensed terrifying spirit chi vortex, transformed it into demonic energy, and then slowly stood up. At this moment, in front of him, there was a giant demon puppet several feet tall, with a green face and fangs, holding a giant stick, and glowing with a metallic cold light, guarding him. This troll puppet, which is as tall as 7th grade, was given to him by his father Chen Ziqing 2 days ago. It is the proud work of a top puppet master from the Donghua Wei family. Its combat power is enough to fight the ordinary 7th grade war emperor. The moment he got it, Chen Beiyuan refined it. The value of a puppet that is not afraid of life and death and has the combat power of a 7th grade war emperor can be imagined. However, when Chen Ziqing handed it to him, he just patted him on the shoulder and said nothing more. I don't know how my father is doing now. I think with the blessing of Wu Dao Pill, I should be able to break through smoothly. Chen Beiyuan put his hands behind his back, looked at the tall and mighty troll puppet in front of him, and murmured to himself. 2 days ago, when Chen Ziqing handed the troll puppet to him, Chen Beiyuan gave him the Wu Dao Pill in his hand. The intelligence Dao Pill had little effect in his hand. But it's different with Chen Ziqing, the 7th grade war king at his peak. Chen Ziqing has been stuck in this realm for 10 years and has lacked opportunities to go further. The enlightenment pill that can last for 48 hours is that opportunity. Once Chen Ziqing can take a step further, it will be a new world. It is always not good to blindly ask for money from the family. When necessary, it is natural to repay 1 or 2 things in return. The strength of his family is also an increasingly powerful backer for him. Even the huge movement just now was intentional by Chen Beiyuan. He could have done it quietly, but he decided to cause such a big battle just to attract the attention of all parties. I've done everything I can, and then it's up to my father. He waved his hand, and the troll puppet in front of him suddenly turned into a stream of light, turning into a black ring and wearing it on his right hand. Suddenly, a throbbing deep in his blood caused a violent reaction in him. His eyes suddenly looked to the side. That is clearly the direction of the blood pool. The bloody dragon emperor is reborn. Chen Beiyuan's pupils trembled, and he instantly turned into a demonic shadow and appeared in front of the blood pool. What he saw was a broken dragon egg floating in the blood pool, but the existence inside the dragon egg disappeared silently. Ran? Chen Beiyuan subconsciously walked to the blood pool and stroked the broken dragon egg that was still warm and moist. Obviously, the other party should have just been born. It's impossible to run. At this moment, a huge shadow silently appeared behind him, and hot breath mixed with the strong smell of blood spat on his neck. Chapter 62, Part 1. Behind. Chen Beiyuan's pupil shrank. Obviously, he didn't expect that the other party could hide his perception ability. This has never happened before. You know, even the 7th grade war emperor cannot hide from his perception. Immediately, he ignored the itching on his neck caused by the hot breath and the strong smell of blood that kept pouring out of his nose. He stood up slowly and turned around slowly. As soon as he turned around, what came into view was an evil and majestic huge dragon head, less than a fist away from him. The dark dragon horns are burning with bloody flames, the scarlet scales are, the ferocious dragon mouth is full of sharp fangs, and the scarlet dragon mane is flying wantonly around its neck. However, what shocked Chen Beiyuan the most were its eyes. Its eyes are not scarlet like the blood evil dragon. Rather, born with double eyes. In the huge dragon eyes, 2 pupils, one black and one red, intertwined like yin and yang tai chi, forming a circle and rotating slowly. Along with the movement of the strange heavy eyes, mysterious and strange lines could be vaguely seen surging, carrying a terrifying pressure that could destroy the world. Under the gaze of the 4 slowly rotating evil dragon eyes, Chen Beiyuan only felt that the world in front of him began to collapse little by little, like a torn picture scroll, and his soul fell into the boundless darkness of nothingness. Being in the boundless darkness of nothingness, he suddenly felt an earth-shaking shock of terror, and soon saw a scene he would never forget. 2 blood moons and 2 dark suns appeared in the sky, intertwining and surrounding each other. In the darkness, the looming scales and horns and sharp claws could easily tear the void apart, setting off terrifying waves in the darkness. The huge thing hidden in the darkness of the void was looking down at him at the moment. Stupid and dirty humans, become my slaves. A majestic and terrifying voice suddenly emerged from the sky, like a high-ranking emperor. The bloody dragon emperor? Chen Beiyuan's pupils shrank, and he felt that his soul had been hit by an unprecedented impact, as if he was about to sink into boundless darkness. His eyes gradually became dull, as if he had lost control of himself. But at this moment, a sitting and forgetting intention suddenly appeared on his body, and he directly entered this sitting and forgetting state, instantly guarding his mind and protecting his soul. Astonishingly, Zhuang Dao Jing began to work independently. At the same time, the prison-suppressing demonic scripture, the natal skill, also noticed something strange and began to undergo strange changes. In the depths of his pupils, a taboo and terrifying existence suddenly shocked him. Tear, a bottomless and terrifying gap suddenly opened in the dark sky above the void. Abyss has arrived. In an instant, the entire darkness of the void and the hidden behemoth were swallowed up by the abyss. At the last moment of devouring, an angry dragon roar mixed with shock and anger could be vaguely heard. No. This angry dragon roar seems to be mixed with a bit of fear and fear of the unknown. What's even more surprising is that this voice is somewhat feminine. Click. The huge abyssal rift closed again. Belch. Abyss burped. What a bloody dragon emperor. He actually gave himself a backup plan and left a spiritual imprint in advance. He almost capsized in the gutter. Chen Beiyuan's expression changed slightly as his consciousness returned to his physical body. Apparently, he didn't expect that he had almost been harmed by the blood-evil dragon emperor. Fortunately, he has many trump cards, a little more than ordinary people. Otherwise, he would really have to let the other party take advantage of him. Once his spirit falls, he becomes the other party's slave and is allowed to manipulate him. Originally, I thought about using the other person as a pet, but in the end, I almost turned into someone's pet. When the time comes, this human darling, will probably have to protect the path of the reborn bloodthirsty dragon emperor. Hiss. Chen Beiyuan admitted that he had underestimated the other party before. I thought that after the other party lost his memory after being reborn, he should be able to handle it easily. Unexpectedly, I was almost taken advantage of. Sure enough, being able to grow to an 8th grade ferocious beast is no simple master. I'm afraid the backhand left behind can easily kill people. However, the last voice of the bloody dragon emperor seems a little weird. It seems to be a female dragon? Empress of the dragon race? Chen Beiyuan's face looked a little strange. He obviously didn't expect that the rumored bloodthirsty dragon emperor, who likes to hunt dragon race, would actually be a female dragon. This seems to be a little different from what he expected. He raised his eyes and saw a huge creature nearly 3 meters long, tilting its head and looking at him curiously. That day, The dragon eyes of dual pupils were no longer as majestic and domineering as in the darkness of the void. Instead, they were ignorant, clear, and bright, just like a newborn creature. Scarlet evil dragon scales, a terrifying dragon body containing terrifying power, powerful dragon claws on its limbs, but the scales on its abdomen are pitch black. The blood-red dragon's tail flicks, indicating that it is in a good mood. Obviously, after the rebirth, the bloody dragon emperor had obviously lost all his previous memories and was like a new individual. What made Chen Beiyuan feel his mouth twitch was that the blood dragon in front of him actually exuded the aura of a 6th grade ferocious beast. 6th grade from birth? A level higher than him? All I can say is that it is indeed a purebred dragon race. Its starting point is a height that many people find difficult to reach in their lifetime. Perhaps sensing his gaze, the blood-evil dragon in front of him actually made some movement and approached him directly. Chen Beiyuan's mind moved, but he made no other moves, as if he wanted to see what the other party was going to do. At this moment, he didn't notice the other party's malice, but instead felt some kind of ignorant closeness. Immediately, he felt a terrifying sense of restraint coming over him, as if he was being entangled by a giant python. The terrifying force made even the body of a 6th grade magic weapon feel suffocated. The blood-evil dragon actually entangled him directly. It was like a prelude to some kind of giant python hunting its prey. At this moment, Chen Beiyuan, who was trapped by entanglement, had a flash of surprise in his eyes. With such terrifying power, some 7th grade ferocious beasts may not be so terrifying. At this moment, he subconsciously activated the blood dragon transformation, and important parts of his body were gradually covered with scarlet dragon scales. His body became taller and stronger, and evil dragon patterns appeared on his face, with sharp scarlet scales growing out. Dragon horn. The whole person has a majestic and evil feeling. With the use of blood dragon transformation, the strength of his physical body instantly soared, and most of the suffocating pressure dissipated instantly. The dragon scales between each other grinded and collided with each other, making a crisp and sweet sound. The huge dragon head slowly came to him, as if ready to swallow him in one bite. However, the next scene made Chen Beiyuan a little stunned and dumbfounded. I saw that after the huge dragon head came closer, it rubbed towards his face, making it look particularly intimate. Come, play writing about pets is indeed the most difficult thing to do, especially when you have to make it look spiritual and realistic. It took me 2 full hours to write this chapter. None of the stupid dogs had such a headache back then. Maybe it was because I had raised dogs but not dragons. Finally, the author wishes everyone a happy National Day. Chapter 63, Part 1. Come, play, Although the bloody dragon emperor did not make the slightest sound, but a young Lolita sound suddenly appeared in Chen Beiyuan's heart, making him look extremely cute and cute. In a sense, Chen Beiyuan, who has absorbed the essence and blood of the dragon emperor, also contains part of the dragon race bloodline, and can understand its meaning to a certain extent. And the other party obviously regards him as a kindred spirit, or a relative, very intimate. After all, after entering the blood dragon transformation, at this moment, he does have some similarities with the blood evil dragon. Chen Beiyuan stretched out his right hand covered with dragon scales from the restrained dragon body, stroked the huge dragon head in front of him, and tried to communicate with it. Do you remember what happened before? Come, play, The bloody dragon emperor shook his head, as if he was not disgusted by his touch, and even liked it, just like a puppy being touched by its owner. The bloody dragon's tail shook even more happily, slapping his thigh crazily. Then what do you want to play? Come play, No matter what question Chen Beiyuan asked it, it almost always had one response, and that was come, play, This reaction can almost be said to fully expose the playful character of a newly born baby dragon. Everything you ask is just fun. Facing such a playful young dragon, even Chen Beiyuan was helpless. It was difficult to connect the playful young dragon in front of him with the domineering and cold-blooded dragon emperor in the darkness of the void. Sure enough, even when he was a cruel and terrifying existence, he still looked so cute in his childhood. However, don't look at this guy's confused appearance. But Chen Beiyuan knew very well that its physical body was even more terrifying than his after-blood dragon transformation. If it really takes action, it may not be able to kill the ordinary 7th grade ferocious beasts. Then let me give you a name. Why don't you just call me Anu from now on? Perhaps it was because the spiritual imprint left by the bloody dragon emperor just now said that he would be taken into custody as a human slave. As a result, the name Chen Beiyuan is somewhat playful at this moment. However, to his surprise, this time, the bloody dragon emperor did not continue to say that he wanted to play, but tilted his head and was a little stunned. Slave, Could it be that the blind cat met the dead mouse and he really guessed the name of the bloody dragon emperor? At this moment, even Chen Beiyuan was a little stunned. He just chose a name at random. How could it be such a coincidence? However, Anu's reaction next clearly showed that he was just overthinking. I saw that it just tilted its head and was stunned for less than 3 seconds before returning to its playful character. Come, play. Sure enough, there is no such thing as a coincidence. However, the system prompt that suddenly appeared next made Chen Beiyuan really stunned. Ding! Congratulations to the host for changing the original fate line, saving the 8th-grade beast, blooded dragon emperor, that should have fallen into the void turbulence and completely perished, and helped it to be reborn successfully. The reborn, blooded dragon emperor, he has an inexplicable love for the host, which will become the host's future help and enhance the host's fate as a villain to a certain extent. Ding! Congratulations to the host for receiving a special reward, Ancient Prisoner Dragonlock, 8th grade Divine Weapon. Ancient Dragonlocks, 8th grade Divine Weapon in the ancient times. In order to fight against Dragon Race, ancient clans spent the entire clan's resources to forge 9 ancient Dragonlocks to restrain Dragon Race's terrifying body and imprison it. Once the Dragonlock is released, even 8 grades Pureblood Dragon Race has to be restrained by it and can be captured without any help. The 9 prison Dragonlocks can be combined into one to block the 9th grade Dragon God. The appearance of this object completely angered the entire Dragon Race. The ancient clan was eventually destroyed by the angry Dragon Race, and the 9 prison Dragonlocks also disappeared without a trace. 8th grade Magic Weapon. Ancient Prison Dragonlock? Chen Beiyuan's pupils trembled. He obviously didn't expect that he would actually get an 8th grade magic weapon after saving the bloodthirsty Dragon Emperor who had never appeared in the original work. You must know that the 8th grade Divine Weapon can be forged by fusing the body of the 8th grade Ferocious Beast and a large number of precious treasures, and it contains the power to destroy a country. Even the top forces don't have a few 8th grade magic weapons. After all, this thing is too rare. Some 8th grade war emperors may not have this stuff. They are all using 7th grade magic weapons. Even as the young master of the Chen family, he does not have such a terrifying magic weapon. Several of the Chen family's 8th grade weapons are now in the hands of his grandfather, Chen Shanhe. His father Chen Zhiqing may also have one. It's not that he is not qualified to possess it, but that the 8th grade magic weapons are extremely powerful, and even if they are not sufficiently cultivated, they are difficult to control. With his current cultivation as a 5th grade war master, he might not be able to exert even 1,000th of the power of an 8th grade divine weapon. If it's not good enough, it will attract the covetousness of some 8th grade war emperors. At that time, it will be a child walking around the city with gold, and he will be easily robbed every minute. There had been a tragic case before. A top-notch war emperor equipped his favorite grandson with an 8th grade weapon. However, it turned out to be targeted by an independent cultivator war emperor who snatched it and fled overseas. Hiding. No matter how strong the top forces are, they are still beyond their reach. After that, all the top forces would not give their heirs 8th grade magic weapons, but chose to equip their heirs with corresponding Taoists. Ancient Prisoner Dragon Lock. This 8th grade magic weapon is quite famous. It is a magic weapon specially used to restrain Dragon Race's powerful physical body. It is so effective against Dragon Race, let alone against other races. Human Race's 8th grade war emperor was locked, with almost no ability to resist. In the original work, Lin Xiao, the son of fortune, seemed to have obtained an ancient prison dragon lock in an ancient clan ruins and regarded it as a trump card, killing many enemies. Chen Shanhe, the ancestor of the Chen family, was fighting against a ferocious alien beast when his limbs were tied up by the dragon prison lock that suddenly appeared. He was eventually cut into pieces by the ferocious alien beast. The fall of Chen Shanhe directly led to the decline of the Chen family. The fall of the entire border front also caused the fall of most of the Donghua Empire. The Chen clan was also massacred by ferocious alien beasts. Chen Beiyuan looked at the ancient prisoner dragon lock placed in the system space, and there seemed to be a terrifying murderous intent deep in his eyes. At this moment, Chen Beiyuan, who was lost in thought, did not realize one thing yet. That is, from just now until now, he has maintained the divine ability of blood dragon transformation, a powerful beast without any intention of consuming huge amounts of money. The blood evil dragon emperor, Anu, who was entangled in him, seemed to have a special connection with him, greatly reducing the consumption of blood dragon transformation. Leng family. Leng Ruobing's situation during this period was not very good. While she was taking care of her vegetative father, she began to search for her missing mother. However, a large number of Long family members suddenly came to the door, trying to drive away the father and daughter and monopolize the Long family's ancestral home. This makes it clear that she is bullying her family and intends to destroy her family. If she hadn't pulled out Chen Beiyuan's tiger skin to scare away those scum for a short time, she would have been kicked out. However, she knew very well that Chen Beiyuan's tiger skin would not be exposed for long before she. Thank you very much for your support and 5-star reviews. Chapter 64, Part 1. What should I do? They will soon find out that I am just pulling the skin of a tiger, and Chen Beiyuan will not care about me anymore. What a shame, those greedy bastards. When the Leng family was in trouble before, they simply packed up their belongings and ran away. Now that the matter has been resolved, they all came back and wanted to occupy the ancestral home. They also wanted to sell me as an elder. Already, I caused my father to become a vegetative state. Now he is selling me for a good price, claiming that he is going to revive the Leng family. He drinks human blood and eats the offal of the poor dog. Leng Ruobing's face was ugly, his hands were clenched tightly, and his eyes showed an undisguised murderous intent. Obviously, she had been quite angry at those relatives in the past few days. Those people are simply bastards, wearing human skin and sucking human blood. Those people not only wanted to occupy the Leng family's ancestral home, but also claimed to have found a good home for her. A direct descendant of a wealthy family had admired her for a long time and was willing to accept her as his concubine. What is an outer room? In fact, he is a lover raised outside. Even if I am Chen Beiyuan's lover, I cannot be the lover of a bullshit young man. Leng Ruobing's face was gloomy. If she wasn't strong enough, she would have fallen out with the Leng family members every minute. However, among those people, there were several immortal elders who were 4th-grade generals. And she is just a peak 3rd-grade fighting spirit. If I were alone, I could hide in Donghua Academy. No matter how arrogant those people are, they would not dare to go to Donghua Academy to cause trouble. But now my father has become a vegetative state and needs someone to take care of him. Chen Beiyuan can't help me anymore. I can only rely on myself from now on. As long as I break through the 4th grade and apply for early graduation from school, everything will get better. After years of hard training and support from her family, her cultivation has reached the peak of the 3rd-grade fighting spirit. She is only one step away from condensing the fighting spirit and achieving the 4th grade. As long as you break through the 4th grade, apply for early graduation, pass the graduation test, and get a letter of recommendation, you will then be able to work in a powerful imperial department. With this level of status, the people of the Leng family will also have some scruples and will not dare to be so unscrupulous. A mountain falls when you rely on a mountain, and you fall when you rely on everyone. Only when you are strong can you be a great Dao. As long as you can get the letter of recommendation, it is half the battle and you have entered the Donghua Empire's system. When the time comes, why can't I, Leng Ruobing, rely on my own efforts to step-by-step become a senior official in the Empire and become a real big shot? When the time comes, we can find my mother as soon as possible. The chill on Leng Ruobing's face dissipated, and his eyes gradually became excited, as if he had found a way to solve the current predicament. Just when she fell into fantasy about the future, a phone ringing interrupted her suddenly. The caller turned out to be Lin Xiao. Leng Ruobing frowned, with undisguised disgust on his face, and hung up directly. However, Lin Xiao was very persistent and kept calling. The continuous ringing of the phone also made Leng Ruobing's mood gradually improve, and she suddenly became irritable. Finally, on the 10th call, Leng Ruobing couldn't bear it any longer and answered the call directly, scolding in a cold voice, "Lin Xiao, what do you want?" "Ruobing, I found my aunt." Lin Xiao's uncontrollably excited voice appeared from the other end of the phone, and what he said also made Leng Ruobing freeze on the spot. "Mother, found it?" Kyoto nightclub, Supreme Box. "I found my aunt through my connections with the Lin family. Now my aunt's condition is not very good. She is still in a coma?" "Yes, she is with me now. Come over as soon as possible." Lin Xiao quickly hung up the phone, looked at Lin Jiuxiao next to him, and said while holding back the sadness in his heart, "She said she'll be there in half an hour?" "Ha ha ha, it has to be Brother Lin. I really admire your acting skills just now. If you are a film star, you will definitely win the Best Actor award." After hearing the good news, Lin Jiuxiao's face showed undisguised excitement. Ever since he met Leng Ruobing at the Empire Club a few days ago, he has been obsessed with this cold school beauty and can't forget him. Even though he was recuperating at the Lin family these past few days, he didn't stop. Instead, he seemed to be in a daze. He wanted to taste one of the 4 beauties in Yinjing more and more. I heard that Chen Beiyuan had been chasing this woman for 6 years, but ended up not wanting her after one night. What a waste of money. Then let someone like Lin enjoy it. For this reason, he specifically asked Lin Xiao to ask the other party out and prepare to do it for her here. "Brother Lin, as brothers, in my heart, you helped me handle this matter. I will definitely not forget you. I have already sent someone to get the Millennium Poisonous Dragon Grass you need. Then thank you, Jiuxiao." Although he had obtained the treasures of heaven and earth he needed, Lin Xiao couldn't be happy at this moment. Instead, he felt inexplicably disappointed. He actually fell to the point of exchanging resources for his favorite goddess. Isn't this just pimping? How is this different from those turtles in red mansions? The previous time with Chen Beiyuan, he could still convince himself that it was a choice made out of necessity. But is the current situation really a last resort? He could have refused, but he still agreed. Lin Jiuxiao, who was excited at this moment, naturally noticed his loneliness, couldn't help but think of something and immediately said, "Brother Lin, don't you like this woman too? I heard that you were humiliated because you were jealous of Chen Beiyuan at Donghua University." Speaking of this, Lin Zhuxiao's sinister face seemed to be hesitant, and then he seemed to have made a lot of determination. "It doesn't matter. Brothers have to be loyal. Leng Ruobing will come soon, and you will come too. Let's deal with her together." Obviously, Lin Zhuxiao really regarded Lin Xiao as a brother. Otherwise, how could he say such things with his playboy temperament? If you want him to give up, it is definitely impossible. Then let's be good brothers together. Lin Zhao's face changed slightly, and he seemed to be a little moved, and he was even more excited when he thought of what might happen next. But the debt and guilt deep in his heart towards Leng Ruobing still made him dare not stay and face him. Especially, you have to watch the other person being humiliated. Forget it, Zhou Xiao. Just have fun. I won't stay here to disturb you, so I'll take my leave now. Regardless of Lin Zhuxiao's persuasion behind him, Lin Xiao resolutely walked out of the box door and walked outside. Being born poor, you have to do whatever it takes. I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong. I don't want it. I don't want it either. What can I do? What can I do? Even if I don't agree, will Lin Zhuxiao let Leng Ruobing go? Impossible. Impossible. He will definitely use other means. In this case, he might as well let me get some benefits. I just made the choice that suits me best. That innocent and kind mountain boy back then is dead. Already dead. I killed him with my own hands. I killed him with my own hands. This shitty world can't leave a good person behind. He lowered his head and muttered to himself, and his whole person became confused, as if he was crazy. Even if he accidentally bumped into someone at the door of the nightclub, he didn't notice. Who the hell dares to hit me? At this moment, Beiyuan, who was hit, was about to curse, but he was a little stunned after seeing Lin Zhao's lost look and talking to himself. Lin Xiao? What's wrong with this guy? Could it be that someone in the family died and he had a mental breakdown and went crazy? Before he could react, he watched Lin Xiao disappear into the dark night. At this moment, a hurried figure rushed towards this side with an anxious look on his face. Beiyuan, who was standing there in a daze, was almost hit again and quickly avoided it. But just as he was dodging, Beiyuan clearly saw the true appearance of the hurried figure. Leng Ruobing? Why is she here? Chapter 65, Part 1. After learning the news about her mother, who had been missing for many days, Leng Ruobing was undoubtedly excited and rushed to the Kyoto nightclub as quickly as possible. Even if he almost bumped into someone on the way, he couldn't care less. There is no way, according to Lin Zhao's description, her mother, in BU, is not in a good situation now. After losing her father, it was difficult for her to accept the loss of another relative. At this moment, with the intervention of family affection, she did not even think about the authenticity of Lin Zhao's phone call, nor did she think about whether the place she was going to was a dragon's pond, a tiger's den, or an endless abyss. Supreme Emperor Box Number 1. During a hurried search, Leng Ruobing quickly found the destination and pushed in with excitement. However, when she entered the box, she did not see her imaginary mother, nor Lin Xiao. Only Lin Zhuxiao, who had a sinister look on her face, sat on the sofa and looked at her playfully, her eyes full of evil light. "Miss Leng, no, it should be Ms. Leng. Welcome to my territory. Are you the third young master of the Lin family? Lin Zhuxiao? Where is Lin Xiao? Where is my mother? Where are they?" Leng Ruobing's expression changed slightly, and his excited thoughts calmed down instantly. He sensed something was wrong and realized that this might be a trap. Subconsciously retreated outside. Snapped. The door slammed shut. Ashan, who was originally huddled in the corner, entangled in bandages under his black robe, appeared behind the door at some point, blocking the only way out. "Ha ha ha, Ms. Leng, don't be afraid. Your mother is in the Lin family now. As long as you are obedient and comfortable with me, I will take you back to find Mom. By then, you will even want to find Dad. It's all fine." Lin Zhuxiao, who was sitting on the sofa, stared greedily at the cold figure in front of her. The evil look in her eyes became more intense, with a hint of cat and mouse banter. At this moment, the prey has entered his game, and it is not just for him to need. The night is long, there is plenty of time to play, there is no rush. Damn it! Leng Ruobing's heart trembled, and she instantly realized that this was a game specifically targeted at her. It's all a lie that her mother was found. Lin Xiao regarded her as a chip and sold her directly in exchange for his own future. From the corner of her eye, she glanced at the black-robed guard Daoist Ashan behind her, but she immediately showed a look of despair. 7th grade War King. This is simply not something that her little 3rd grade fighting spirit can contend with, and her little movements were naturally seen clearly by Lin Zhuxiao, and the teasing meaning in her eyes became more and more intense. "Lin Zhuxiao, you are crazy. Chen Beiyuan will not let you go." At the critical moment, Leng Ruobing once again played the Beiyuan card, in the hope of scaring the opponent. I'm afraid even Leng Ruobing didn't expect that since Chen Beiyuan broke up with him, whenever she encountered danger, the first thing she would think of would be him. Whenever something goes wrong, the name Chen Beiyuan is always used to scare people. In the past, as long as she played the Beiyuan card, almost everyone would be jealous and worried. Unfortunately, this time, she miscalculated. Bitch, are you trying to scare me with Chen Beiyuan? He, Chen Beiyuan, can play, but I, Lin Jiuxiao, can't. Lin Jiuxiao's expression suddenly turned sinister and crazy. He was obviously stimulated, and his face no longer had the playful look of a cat playing with a mouse. In a moment, I will let you know how powerful I am. Damn it. Facing Lin Jiuxiao, who was approaching him step by step, Leng Ruobing's expression changed drastically. Apparently, he didn't expect that he would directly anger the other party by just mentioning Chen Beiyuan. On the contrary, this is a bit of a waste of money. At this moment, all her ways of survival have been blocked, and her next end is naturally conceivable. When she thought of this, she couldn't help but take out a dagger from her pocket and put it on her neck. Her desperate eyes gradually became firm. Even if you commit suicide, you won't be able to suffer this humiliation. However, she obviously underestimated Lin Jiuxiao's bottom line. Ha ha ha, you still want to commit suicide? You have character and are strong enough. I haven't tasted the taste of death yet. When the time comes, I will drag your body out to tour the city. Facing the crazy Lin Jiuxiao, Leng Ruobing's face turned pale. Apparently, he didn't expect that this person would be so disgusted. Today, she may not be able to escape the murderous hand. However, for some reason, the figure of Chen Beiyuan suddenly appeared in her mind, as if he would appear at this critical moment to save her. How is that possible? He doesn't care about me anymore. Leng Ruobing smiled sadly, and the wrist holding the dagger trembled slightly. However, what she didn't know was that during the journey from Leng's house to Kyoto nightclub, behind her, there was a shadowy figure of an old woman from beginning to end, following her not far or near. Since Chen Beiyuan had decided to use her as a chess piece, he naturally arranged for the corresponding people to be responsible for monitoring and protecting her. At this moment, the hunched old woman was standing outside the box, clearly sensing the movement inside. At this moment, even Ashen, the 7th grade war emperor, was unaware of her presence. The juniors of the Lin family are becoming less and less mature. The hunchbacked old woman knew very well that Leng Ruobing would be fine for a while inside. So, she slowly took out an old-fashioned mobile phone and dialed a secret number with little skill. Chen family. Chen Beiyuan soaked his naked body in the blood pool, enjoying the hot blood of the ferocious beast with his eyes closed. A pair of delicate and plump little hands were massaging his shoulders and strong back. And Biyu was dressed in gauze, like a maid serving her master, kneading and massaging the young man in front of her somewhat unskilledly. Looking at the strong body in the blood pool, that cold and charming face turned a little rosy. At this moment, the cell phone placed in the blood pool suddenly rang. Chen Beiyuan slowly opened his eyes, picked up the cell phone placed next to the blood pool, frowned slightly after seeing the caller, and immediately answered the call. What's up? Young Master Beiyuan, Lin Jiuxiao and Lin Xiao set up a trap to trick Leng Ruobing into going to a Kyoto nightclub. I'm afraid they have some agenda. Do you want me to take action? The hoarse voice of the hunchbacked old woman appeared from the other end of the phone. Lin Jiuxiao? Lin Xiao. Chen Beiyuan's eyes opened, and a cold light suddenly bloomed, and he instantly guessed the strangeness in it. Well, Lin Xiao, the son of fortune, is addicted to giving gifts to his girls. He wants to give them to everyone he meets. In the original work, the most they could do was give him the destiny of being a villain. Suddenly, he frowned slightly and felt the force on his shoulders suddenly become a little heavier. Since she was in a closed space and Chen Beiyuan did not let Biyu avoid it, she naturally heard the content at this moment. As soon as she heard that something was about to happen to her daughter, the cold and charming young woman suddenly became panicked and wanted to rush to save people. But the other party was from the Donghua Lin family, and it was obviously not something she could handle alone. At this moment, she is no longer the Miaojiang saintess she used to be. For the current plan, Chen Beiyuan has to take action. Owner. Continue. Facing in Biyu's pleading eyes, Chen Beiyuan didn't pay any attention to it and slowly closed his eyes, as if he didn't want to care. Just when she looked desperate, Chen Beiyuan suddenly said coldly to the old woman on the other end of the phone, "Bring them out and break the legs of the rest." I understand. After receiving instructions from young Master Beiyuan, the hunchbacked old woman was about to hang up the phone and start taking action. However, they saw Bayuza walking towards this side with several burly and tall figures in a menacing manner. Bang! Bayuza took the lead and kicked open the door of the box, frightening everyone inside. Look at you. You're holding a knife to your neck. If you want to die, go outside. Leng Ruobing, who looked confused and still had a knife in his hand, was kicked out. Snapped. The box door is closed again. Bayuza, how dare you ruin my good deeds? Bad mother, you dare to touch the woman my brother-in-law has played with. Chapter 65, Part 2. If I don't break your legs today, My uncle will take your surname. F***K her.
Enjoying the audiobooks? Support me on Patreon so I can keep doing this. Link in the description. Thank you so much for your support. Now, let's move on to the next chapter.
Chapter 66, Part 1. Leng Ruobing. Hunchbacked old woman? The sudden change instantly confused the two of them. What the hell? Especially Leng Ruobing. A second ago, she was trapped in a dragon's den, immersed in despair, and was about to commit suicide. The next second, Beiyuan came in with a group of people, kicked her out of the box, and then blocked Lin Jiuxiao. That man seems to be Chen Beiyuan's brother-in-law? Could it be that Beiyuan asked him to come? After reacting, Leng Ruobing didn't even pay attention to the dagger on his neck. He subconsciously looked around, but he didn't see Chen Beiyuan, and he couldn't help but feel a little disappointed on his desperate face. No, I have to leave first. If Beiyuan really sent someone to rescue me, I would be wasting a precious opportunity by staying here. Leng Ruobing murmured to himself. Immediately, she fled outside without hesitation. Although, the possibility of Chen Beiyuan having someone come to rescue her is very low. After all, the other party has clearly stated his attitude of making a clean break before. But for some reason, deep in her heart, she always had an inexplicable premonition that Chen Beiyuan would not stand by and watch her. At this moment, her mind could not help but be occupied by that domineering and cold figure. Whenever she encounters danger, that person's presence seems to be like a talisman that can always protect her at critical moments. Even that person has left her world. Beiyuan. The hunchbacked old woman looked silently at Leng Ruobing, who was leaving, and then looked at the box that was tightly closed and screamed and wailed one after another. Her face seemed to be twitching. She never expected that before she could save anyone, Leng Ruobing would come out unscathed. Beiyuan, the brother-in-law of his young master, directly blocked the Lin family. Moreover, Beiyuan also brought a bunch of people with him. Basically, they are all playboys from the major wealthy families in Yinjing City. Among them, there are several 7th grade and sovereign level guardians. With so many people coming, Lin Jiuxiao and an injured Lin family guard Taoist simply couldn't handle it. Now, he is being pushed to the ground and beaten violently. The hunchbacked old woman ignored the screams in the box and reported to the old-fashioned mobile phone that had not been hung up. Young Master Beiyuan, Leng Ruobing has left unscathed. However, Beiyuan, with a bunch of dandy boys and several 7th grade war emperors, blocked the Lin family's brats and is about to take action. Qin family, blood pool. Xiaobai, why did this guy get involved? Could it be that he just happened to meet him? Chen Beiyuan was also a little confused at the moment. Naturally, he clearly heard Beiyuan's scolding voice from the other end of the phone just now. This brother-in-law is really reliable, and he really cares about matters related to his brother-in-law. Sure enough, Beiyuan's previous words of being brothers in our hearts were not in vain. Without even calling him, he called a bunch of people to kill Lin Jiuxiao, a little brat. You don't have to worry about this matter. Xiaobai has a sense of propriety. If anything happens, I will tell him the truth. Just follow Leng Ruobing. Yes, young Master Beiyuan. After hanging up the phone, Chen Beiyuan slowly rubbed the center of his brows. Originally, he planned to exploit this matter again and hit the Lin family. Unexpectedly, it was Beiyuan who intervened and attracted all the hatred. However, after all, it was the kindness of my brother-in-law. Even then, if things get too big, things will become more troublesome. However, based on his understanding of his brother-in-law, if things went too far, the other party would call him immediately. Owner. It was only at this moment, after confirming that her daughter was safe and sound, that most of the worry on Beiyuan's face dissipated. A trace of emotion and guilt appeared on the cold and charming face. Just now, she was worried about her daughter's safety, but she didn't expect that Chen Beiyuan had already arranged someone to protect Ruobing secretly. If it weren't for Chen Beiyuan, Leng Ruobing would have been played to death by that playboy of the Lin family tonight. Things like this are not uncommon in Yinjing City. Lin Jiuxiao is another pervert with a twisted personality. Over the years, countless women have died at his hands. The death of the legitimate daughter of a small family was not a big deal. The person who died was not a child of a wealthy family who couldn't afford to make much trouble. The most is just 3 drinks as a penalty. Is it possible that Lin Jiuxiao can be killed? With her current status, she was unable to confront the Lin family head-on. Thanks to Chen Beiyuan, she was able to withstand all the pressure. As she was so excited just now, it was obvious that the movements of her hands were a bit heavy. Bang! Her neck was suddenly grabbed by a strong hand, and she suddenly felt a suffocating feeling. Madam, please always remember your identity. What I want is a dog that is obedient and capable of biting. I don't need your intervention to do my job. I said, as long as you do things for me, nothing will happen to your daughter or your husband. Chen Beiyuan, do what I say. Chen Beiyuan said calmly without looking back. No, the Lord man. Just when Nbu was about to feel suffocated, she suddenly felt the force on her neck loosen a little. Immediately, she felt the world spin for a while and was thrown directly into the blood pool. The strong smell of blood kept pouring into her nostrils, making it difficult for her to breathe. Bang! Nbu swam up from the blood pool, frantically breathing in the air with the strong smell of blood. Her face was flushed, her long hair was messy, and she looked particularly embarrassed. But for the feeling of almost suffocating to death just now, she didn't have the slightest resentment at this moment. Instead, she felt some kind of forbidden pleasure and feeling. Just when she raised her head and was about to look at Chen Beiyuan, she suddenly felt a violent fluctuation behind her, and the entire blood pool suddenly rose a bit. A feeling of fear from her soul suddenly appeared, making the hairs all over her body stand up, as if something was staring at her from behind. Nbu suddenly froze on the spot, and with a pair of charming eyes, she could clearly see a huge dragon head slowly rising from the blood pool, causing a turbulent wave. The huge dragon head was only a punch away from her at the moment. The hot breath sprayed on her neck, drying her wet long black hair in an instant. A pair of strange dual pupils were staring at her head. Dragon? There is a dragon in the blood pool? Nbu's pupils trembled, and she felt stiff all over, as if she was being targeted by some terrifying entity. What frightened her even more was that she could vaguely sense a bloodline pressure similar to Emperor Gu from this dragon. Bell, bell, bell. Just when the atmosphere was frozen, a cell phone ringing broke the deadlock. Chen Beiyuan ignored the stalemate between one person and one dragon in front of him, but looked at the mobile phone next to him. The caller turned out to be his brother-in-law Beiyuan. Chapter 67, Part 1. 3 minutes ago. Kyoto nightclub, Supreme Box Number 1. When Beiyuan rushed in with a bunch of pig friends and several other 7th grade and sovereign level guards, the outcome of everything was doomed. Lin Jiuxiao's guardian Taoist, Shan, has not recovered from his injuries since he was executed last time. Faced with the siege of several 7th grade war emperors, he was immediately subdued. Facing the team of dandies headed by Beiyuan, Lin Jiuxiao was instantly at a disadvantage and was directly pushed to the ground to deal with it. Of course, Beiyuan was the one who took the main action, and the rest of the dandy boys could only help hold down Lin Jiuxiao's hands and feet. After all, they were just called to help. Thanks to my cleverness, I noticed something was wrong at the first time. Otherwise, you really would have succeeded, you bastard. You mother, why don't you take a pee and look in the mirror? You can touch the woman my brother-in-law has played with? If I don't break a few of your legs today, I, Beiyuan, will be living in vain. Beiyuan cursed loudly with a ferocious expression. Originally, he just planned to come to the Kyoto nightclub to have fun, but he didn't expect that he met Lin Xiao who was lost, and Leng Ruobing who came in a hurry. This little demon king of the Bai family was no fool, and he immediately sensed something was wrong. Immediately, he called the owner of the Kyoto nightclub directly and learned that Lin Jiuxiao, a little brat, was in box number 1, and Leng Ruobing happened to be looking for box number 1. There must be something fishy. In all likelihood, it was that bitch Lin Jiuxiao who caused the trouble. Beiyuan knew very well that Lin Jiuxiao was a pervert, and he was most likely setting a trap for women again. You mad? If you set a trap for others, he might not care. But that is the woman that my brother-in-law has played with, and is it something you can get your hands on? If I don't beat the shit out of you today, you will be considered clean. Beiyuan didn't say anything, and directly called all his husband and dog friends. By the way, he also called the Bai family to summon people, saying that he was being bullied outside, and forcefully transferred 2 7th grade battle emperors from the Bai family. It was better now. Lin Jiuxiao, who had originally planned to enjoy it, suffered a disaster and received a severe beating. Beiyuan went straight towards the guy and broke Lin Jiuxiao's legs. Lin Jiuxiao screamed in pain and cursed resentfully. Beiyuan, I'm going to K your mother. You are just Chen Beiyuan's dog. My eldest brother and the Lin family will not let you go. I'll let your mother go. Beiyuan also lost his temper. He picked up a special golf club and threw it into the middle. Bang! Along with heavy objects falling and bloody flesh, the sound of chickens flying and eggs being beaten could be heard. Lin Jiuxiao's eyes suddenly widened, bloodshot and almost bulging out. He looked in disbelief at the bloody mass between the 2 broken legs. His screams and yells stopped suddenly, and he spurted out a mouthful of old blood and fainted. Trench! Yuz, are you serious? Yuza, you are in big trouble now. It's over. Now things are going big. You can break both legs, but if that thing is broken, the Lin family won't let it go. The few dandy boys who helped hold down Lin Jiuxiao's hands and feet were also confused at this moment and quickly let go of their hands. One by one, they swallowed their saliva as they looked at Lin Jiuxiao, who was unconscious on the ground, with his crotch covered in blood and flesh. This is fatal. There are conflicts, jealousies, fights between the children of the aristocratic family. Even if the limbs are broken, it doesn't matter. Anyway, Their respective families never lack the healing spirit medicine. If you lose, just fight back later and regain your position. But there is a limit to this thing. What do you mean you hit that deadly thing? This can be considered life-threatening. Yuza, hurry up and go back to the Bai family. Avoid the limelight, and don't let the Lin family get in the way. Otherwise, your end will definitely not be much better. Lin Zhuxiao's eldest brother is not someone to be trifled with. As the heir to the Lin family, he will definitely demand an explanation from his brother. In the fight between the younger generations, the older generation is not suitable to come forward. You have to be the younger one to solve it. Now you are in big trouble. A playboy who was born in the Wang family of Donghua and had a good relationship with Bai Yuza said quickly. At most, these people can only help by holding down Lin Zhuxiao's hands and feet, and at most they can be regarded as accomplices. Bai Yuza is in trouble. He is the main culprit. When things got so big, the Lin family was the first to come to him to settle the score. The Lin family is one of the guns of the empire and is not someone to be trifled with. Several other dudes who had a good relationship with Bai Yuza also quickly asked Bai Yuza to run away first. It has to be said that although Bai Yuza is not very reliable at times, at critical moments, the husband and dog friends around him are quite interesting. Otherwise, it would be impossible to call so many people with just one phone call. Young Master Bai, leave quickly. Go back to the family first to avoid the limelight, and let the head of the family come forward to negotiate with the Lin family. The Lin family must have received the news at this time and came to block people. If it's a step too late, it will be a disaster. Bai Yuza's bodyguard Daoist and several Bai family war emperors were also frightened by the scene in front of them and quickly wanted to take Bai Yuza away. Lin Zhuxiao's identity is not simple. He is one of the core members of the family. To put it bluntly, if something happens to Lin Zhuxiao, he will be one of the successors to the Lin family. If such a big thing happened, it would be a slap in the face of the Lin family, and the Lin family would not let it go. At this moment, even Bai Yuza, who had calmed down, realized how much trouble he had caused. If I just broke 2 legs, things would be manageable, but no, we can't go back to the Bai family. After the Lin family receives the news, in addition to sending people over, they will definitely send people to block the road to the Bai family. Then they will fall into a trap. Besides, if things get so big, even if I really return to the Bai family, the old man will most likely break my legs. After Bai Yuza calmed down, he looked at Lin Zhuxiao who was unconscious on the ground, but his mind was running very fast. For this plan, I have to find my brother-in-law for help. The Lin family dares to block the Bai family, but they may not dare to block the Chen family. I'll call my brother-in-law first and see if he can protect me. I have to say that Chen Beiyuan's hunch was quite accurate. Whenever something gets too big, the first thing his brother-in-law thinks of is his brother-in-law. Chen family. Bell, bell, bell. Chen Beiyuan, who was soaked in the blood pool, looked at the call from his brother-in-law in front of him. As if he had expected it, he picked it up and answered the call. Speak directly if you have anything to say. Brother-in-law, I have done something wrong. Can I go to your place to hide? Bai Yuza's mean voice appeared from the other end of the phone. However, his voice was obviously mixed with some uneasiness, and his slightly heavy breathing indicated that he was on his way to run away. Tell me, what happened again? Although he had expected it, Chen Beiyuan still wanted to know how big a fuss his brother-in-law had made. She called him only 3 minutes later, as if she was about to run away for safety. This was somewhat beyond his expectation. I didn't do anything serious. I just broke Lin Zhuxiao's legs. Just a broken leg? That's not a big deal. Is it possible that the Bai family can't even cover this? Does Bai Yuza need to run away for refuge? Etc. Chen Beiyuan instantly noticed something was wrong, twitched the corner of his mouth, and his expression became serious. Which leg is broken? Just the 2 on the left and right, yes, and the one in the middle. Chapter 68, Part 1. The 2 on the left and right and the one in the middle. Chen Beiyuan finally understood why his brother-in-law was eager to seek refuge with him. This matter is considered a bit of a big deal. The left and right legs can also be healed with the spirit medicine of heaven and earth, and there will be no problem in jumping around normally. But that thing in the middle, let's not talk about whether it can be cured, but whether it can be used after it is cured. Will there be any psychological shadow? What should I do if I can't lift it? This thing is passed down from generation to generation. If you touch other people's things, it would be strange if the Lin family is not crazy. For any family, carrying on the family line is always a top priority. Bai Yuza has really touched the taboo of the aristocratic family. Even Chen Beiyuan didn't expect this guy to be so aggressive. He went crazy and even hit Lin Zhuxiao's 3rd leg. Moreover, based on his understanding of his brother-in-law, this thing is probably an understatement. The thing under Lin Zhuxiao's crotch is probably more serious than being broken. This time, he stabbed the sky. Brother-in-law, I'm your brother-in-law. You can't ignore me. Before my sister left, she specifically told me to discuss any important matter with you. My own father doesn't believe it now and won't even come back to the Bai family. You have to please help me. In my heart, You are closer than my biological father. I will be your brother-in-law for the rest of my life. Beiyuan shouted pitifully, like a homeless wild dog. Obviously, he also knew that he had made things worse, and the Bai family might not be able to protect him. Maybe you don't have to die, but you can't avoid the pain of flesh and blood. For the current plan, I still have to find my brother-in-law for help. Look at how dead you are. If anything happens, you will die. Come over here. Forget it. I'll have someone pick you up, so that you don't get into trouble along the way. Chen Beiyuan was speechless. However, people should still be protected. After all, he is his brother-in-law, so he is still useful. Although the matter was somewhat complicated by the interference of his brother-in-law, it was still not a big deal. Maybe for the Bai family, this matter is very troublesome. After all, the Lin family is one of the guns of the empire. Who can afford to go head-to-head with the guns? These days, anyone with a gun must be more talkative than a talker. There are still differences between top aristocratic families and top aristocratic families. But for the Qin family, this matter is not too troublesome. There is no way. The Qin family has the thickest guns in the empire, thicker than the Lin family, bigger than the Lin family, and harder than the Lin family. In the simplest and most vulgar terms, your gun is not as big as mine. This was the fundamental reason why Beiyuan immediately sought help from his brother-in-law. The Lin family dared to block the Bai family. How could they dare to block the Qin family? Can't tell the difference between big and small kings? Chen Beiyuan took his young master token and summoned the strong men of the family to send someone to pick up Beiyuan so that he would not be intercepted by the Lin family's people on the way, and took him directly to the Lin family. By then, he might not be able to save his third leg. Things got bigger and bigger, and even the Bai family was dragged into the water. I'm afraid there will be a good show next. Chen Beiyuan's eyes were as deep as the abyss, and he murmured to himself. Not far away, an Bu has been entangled by Anu, and the huge dragon head is looking around, where to start its mouth. A pair of strange dual pupils filled with the pressure of a terrifying dragon, which even made an Bu's scalp numb. Obviously, this dragon was afraid that she would be treated as food delivered to the door. Anu, come here. Chen Beiyuan's voice came from the front, and Bu only felt a lightness on her body, and the terrifying dragon body entangled in it was instantly untied, and the huge dragon head dived directly into the blood pool, rushing towards Chen Beiyuan like a husky, having fun. The majestic and domineering giant dragon's head rubbed Chen Beiyuan's face affectionately, making a slight dragon roar from time to time, and it actually looked a little cute. I've grown up a lot. Chen Beiyuan patted its head, looked it over, and nodded with satisfaction. The blood of fresh ferocious beasts in the blood pool is changed every day, and there are basically no ferocious beasts weaker than 5th grade. It is definitely the best nourishment for the bloody dragon emperor. In just a few days, it grew from 3 meters long to more than 10 meters long now, growing very fast. What surprised Chen Beiyuan even more is that as Anu grows, the beast's divine ability, blood dragon transformation, in his body will gradually become stronger and more durable. This is undoubtedly a good thing. I'm afraid Beiyuan never dreamed that his decision to immediately leave the Kyoto nightclub and seek refuge with his brother-in-law was so wise. Because, not long after he and other little friends ran away, the Lin family members arrived. A total of 10 7th-grade war emperors immediately surrounded the entire Kyoto nightclub. Lin Zhuoxiao, who passed out in the box, was also picked up immediately. If Beiyuan had run slower, he might have been blocked by the Lin family and taken away by force. Soon after the Lin family left, a fire broke out in a Kyoto nightclub. The fire was so violent that no one, including the boss, survived. The more clever thing about Beiyuan is that he did not listen to the advice of a few husbands and dogs and the family war emperor and returned to the Bai family, because, just after learning about the accident of his third brother Lin Zhuoxiao, Lin Zhuozhou immediately sent 10 7th-grade war emperors to the Kyoto nightclub, but the young master of the Lin family did not follow him, but went directly to the Bai family. At this moment, the young master of the Lin family was directly blocking the gate of the Bai family. Lin Zhuozhou, come to visit the head of the Bai family and ask for an explanation from my third brother. The loud voice instantly resounded throughout the Bai mansion. Even several other top aristocratic families around were alarmed. I'm afraid, no one expected that the young master of the Lin family would dare to go to the Bai family alone to ask for an explanation. It seems ridiculous for a 6th-grade war king to seek explanation from a top family. But when Lin Zhuozhou came on behalf of the Lin family, some people might not be able to laugh anymore. For example, the current head of the Bai family, Bai Yun. The head of the Bai family, who was known for his elegance and easygoing, didn't look very good at the moment. Bang! That evil. Obviously, he was also angered by his youngest son. Someone who wasn't paying attention actually stabbed such a big hole. That's why he is so passive now. When the Lin family asked Lin Zhuozhou to come, they showed an attitude that matters between the juniors should be settled among the juniors. As an elder, if he interferes forcefully, The elders of the Lin family will not be polite. By then, it will be an all-out war. Bai Yinyu knew very well that the Lin family must have laid a trap on the road that the Bai family must pass. If the traitor of his family dares to come back, he may be trapped in the trap. Lin Jiuzhou is here to silence the Bai family. After all, the Bai family has no control over this matter. At this moment, Bai Yinyu was so angry that she wished she could break her traitor's legs. It's so fussy. At this moment, a figure appeared quietly and whispered a few words in his ear. Bai Yinyun's expression remained unchanged, but he was relieved inside. What a sin! I'm not stupid enough to run home. Now it's time for the show to begin. Please give me 5-star reviews from all the readers. It's guaranteed to be a blast. Chapter 69, Part 1. After learning that his evil deeds did not run to Bai's house, he ran directly to Chen's house. Bai Yinyun cursed secretly, but also felt a little relieved. This damn evil is finally not stupid enough and still has some brains. As long as the Chen family is willing to help, there is still room for maneuver in this matter. Butler, please invite nephew Jiuzhou to come in. Bai Yinyun also became much calmer and regained his elegant and easygoing demeanor. After all, it was my son who caused the trouble, so I still have to help solve the problem. Necessary compensation is still needed. However, Lin Jiuzhou, who was blocking the door of Bai's house, also received the news that Bai Yuza was hiding in Chen's house. What a Bai family! His face darkened, and he walked away without any intention of giving the elder Bai Yinyun any face. When things got to this point, how could he settle it so easily? Anyone from the Lin family can beat him? Nowadays, Huan Yinjing doesn't know that the third young master of the Lin family lost 3 legs due to Bai Yuza. This is a slap in the face of the Lin family. Lin. After the unconscious Lin Jiuxiao was sent back to the Lin family, he was directly surrounded by countless doctors comparable to national experts. And after seeing the injuries on that thing, even the national miracle doctors present couldn't help but take a breath of cold air and felt a chill in their crotches. Hey, this thing has been smashed. Even if it is cured by using the spirit medicine of heaven and earth, there will still be problems. With such an injury, I'm afraid I won't be able to keep it, and I'll have to cut off half of it. More than that, I think at least 80% must be cut off. At that time, if you want to restore it, you will need at least 3 regeneration grasses. Then let's do it. If we miss the best medical opportunity, I'm afraid there will be a serious infection. By then, I'm afraid I'll have to cut it all off. It has to be said that the foundations of top aristocratic families are extraordinary after all. You can take top-notch heavenly and earthly spirit medicine such as amputated limb rebirth grass at your fingertips, and there are also many precious heavenly and earthly spirit medicine as auxiliary medicines. Coupled with the help of all the national miracle doctors, Lin Jiuxiao's condition soon improved greatly. When Lin Jiuzhou returned to the family with a gloomy face, the rotten flesh under Lin Jiuxiao's crotch has returned to its original state and is even a lot whiter, just like new growth. When Lin Jiuzhou saw this scene, his cold face was touched. He looked at the doctor next to him and asked, "How's it going?" "Young Master Jiuzhou, the current situation of the third young master has stabilized, and the incomplete limbs have recovered as before. However, the subsequent situation still needs to be observed, but..." The leading doctor carefully considered it, with a look of hesitation on his face. "But what?" Lin Jiuzhou's eyes changed and he asked without changing his expression. "However, I'm afraid there may be problems with third young master's fertility." The leading doctor swallowed and spoke hesitantly. Even the other doctors behind him had their eyes flickering at this moment, not daring to look directly at Lin Jiuzhou. On the surface, the person is cured, but there are still serious consequences, but this is obviously beyond their capabilities. However, to their surprise, Lin Jiuzhou was not as angry as he imagined, but was very calm and nodded lightly. "I understand. Thank you all doctors for your hard work." The Lin family promised not to miss a penny. In addition, there is also a generous gift for you, housekeeper, to see off the guests. "Thank you, young Master Jiuzhou. Thank you, young Master Jiuzhou. Thank you, young Master Jiuzhou." The doctors were overjoyed when they heard this. They did not expect that the young master of the Lin family could be so reasonable, which made their hearts slowly fall. Soon, under the guidance of the housekeeper, the doctors also left one after another with valuable gifts. Lin Jiuzhou stood at the door and suddenly spoke to the air, muttering to himself, "Don't leave any of the people who just died. Bury the whole family together and burn those gifts for them." A bunch of quack doctors can't cure people, but they still have the honor to live? Do they really think that the Lin family runs a charity? "Yes, young master." At the corner, a ghostly figure walked out and disappeared without a trace. After instructing his subordinates to settle the matter, Lin Jiuzhou walked into the room that was filled with the smell of alcohol and blood, and looked at his third brother who was pale and unconscious on the hospital bed. The face of the young master of the Lin family gradually became sinister and ferocious, and his eyes gradually became ferocious, like an enraged beast. Behind him, a terrifying beast with horns appeared silently, its huge eyes staring straight ahead. Suddenly, Lin Juxiao's eyelids trembled slightly as he was unconscious on the hospital bed, and his fingers moved slightly. The phantom of the terrifying beast disappeared without a trace in an instant. The ferocious madness on Lin Juxiao's face dissipated instantly and returned to calm, as if the scene just now had never happened. Elder brother. Lin Juxiao slowly opened his eyelids, feeling the numbness all over his body and the piece of rotten flesh that had been cut off next to him. He looked at the expressionless elder brother in front of him with a pale face. Avenge me. His voice was weak and hoarse, but it was filled with creepy resentment. Lin Jiuzhou looked at him expressionlessly. He didn't say yes or no, he just stared at him. Facing his eldest brother's gaze, Lin Jiuxiao was stared at with fury, as if he had been seen through. The resentment on his face gradually dissipated, and his face became submissive, as if he wanted to explain something. Elder brother, take good care of your injuries. Lin Jiuzhou finally spoke, and did not mention the Kyoto nightclub. Immediately, he turned around and walked towards the door. Lin Jiuxiao looked at her eldest brother's back obediently, suddenly thought of something, and her face changed slightly. Brother, this matter has nothing to do with Lin Xiao and Ashen. Don't mess with them. As the person who knows his eldest brother's cruel methods best, Lin Jiuxiao knew very well that Lin Xiao and Ashan must have been arrested. What happened in the Kyoto nightclub cannot be concealed. If he doesn't wake up, both of them will have to sacrifice to heaven. Even if he wakes up, these two people will probably be worse off than dead. But one is his brother, and the other is Taoist, who has been with him for many years. How could he let anything happen to these two people? At this moment, he was so excited that he half propelled his body and tried to get up, but failed. He coughed violently again, almost coughing out his lungs. Cough, 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 cough. When Lin Jiuzhou heard the movement behind him, he stepped out of the door and unexpectedly agreed. Good. Outside the door. When Lin Jiuzhou came out, he saw his father, Lin Shufeng, the head of the Lin family, waiting for him in the yard. Lin Shufeng looked at the expressionless eldest son in front of him, and it was clear that he was really angry. He was angry, but also a little relieved at the same time. What makes me angry is that my youngest son is useless. Fortunately, even though his most accomplished eldest son is cruel, he takes his family members very seriously. This is undoubtedly a good thing. What are you going to do about this matter? No one can easily insult our Lin family. Everyone involved must pay the price. The juniors should handle their own affairs. As the eldest brother, I have to stand up for the younger ones. Lin Jiuzhou spoke calmly. Lin Shufeng looked pleased and nodded with satisfaction. Okay, I don't care about this matter. I'll leave it to you. Lin Jiuzhou nodded to his father and left directly. Not long after Lin Jiuzhou left, the housekeeper walked in. Head of the family, the head of the Bai family is here to visit. Not see. Lin Shufeng refused domineeringly. When things have reached this point, what nonsense is there to talk about? Chen family. After Chen Beiyuan played with Anu in the blood pool for a while, he slowly changed his clothes under an BU service and walked towards the living room alone. In the living room, Bai Yuza, who had been waiting for a while, couldn't sit still when he saw Chen Beiyuan appear, with an excited expression on his face. Brother-in-law, you're not stupid. You know how to come towards me. Chapter 69, Part 2. If you run back to Bai's house, I'm afraid Lin Jiuzhou will intercept you halfway. The two Bai family war emperors you sent back to report the news were caught by the Lin family halfway. Chapter 70, Part 1. Brother-in-law, please stop laughing at me. Thank you for sending someone to pick me up. Otherwise, I would have been captured by those bastards from the Lin family. Those dogs' noses are so damn smart, they can even guess where I'm going. This time, I finally understand why the Lin family is one of the guns of the empire. They are all a bunch of perverts. Bai Yuza had a wry smile on his face. There were still some scratches on his face, his clothes were in tatters, and he was in a mess. He no longer looked like the young master from aristocratic family before. Obviously, his journey was not as simple as imagined. Even Chen Beiyuan had to admit that his brother-in-law was really lucky. As soon as something happened, she ran to him. She didn't stay in the Kyoto nightclub, and she didn't run to the Bai family. Otherwise, she would have been caught by the Lin family long ago. On the contrary, two Bai family war emperors who wanted to run back to the Bai family to report the news were intercepted by the Lin family halfway. Their lives and deaths are still unknown. But even so, Bai Yuza, under the protection of his own bodyguard Taoist, rushed all the way towards the Chen family, but he was almost blocked by the Lin family who came and was directly arrested. At that time, Bai Yuza and his bodyguard Taoist had been pressed to the ground and rubbed by a group of Lin family war emperors, preparing to beat them half to death and drag them back to the Lin family. I'm afraid Bai Yuza never dreamed that the Lin family had such terrifying fighting power. After just a few encounters, Taoist, my own bodyguard, was knocked down. At the critical moment, the people sent by Chen Beiyuan arrived just in time and brought the person back directly. He only suffered some superficial injuries, which is fine, and his own nurse Taoist is still resuscitating him. Those people are all veterans of the Lin family who have retired from the battlefield. Each and every one of them is a monster that crawled out from the pile of dead people and the grave of vicious beasts. You have offended the Lin family badly, otherwise, the Lin family would not have released those guys. But it's good that people are fine. Chen Beiyuan looked at the depressed brother-in-law in front of him, smiled and shook his head, looking calm and calm. It is not that simple for the Lin family to be the second gun of the empire. Since ancient times, those who can hold military power have been beaten. Even in the Donghua Empire, the Lin family is ranked among the top 5 forces. Even the imperial family needs to show a certain amount of respect to the Lin family. Although the Bai family is strong, they are not armed with guns after all. It is naturally impossible to confront them head-on. Brother-in-law, I didn't know the importance of the Donghua Chen family before, but now I can clearly feel it. When the people from the Lin family saw the people you sent, they were like little devils seeing the king of hell. They didn't even dare to take action. They turned around and ran away without hesitation. Beiyuan looked at the calm brother-in-law in front of him with mixed feelings on his face. It was only now that he truly felt the terror of the Donghua Chen family. Before, he and his bodyguard Taoist were pushed to the ground by the monsters of the Lin family and were about to be dragged away by force when his brother-in-law's people arrived. Those Lin family monsters dared to touch the Bai family, but when they saw the brother-in-law's people appeared, they chose to let them go and give in without saying a word. At this moment, he still clearly remembers those expressionless Lin family monsters. When they saw someone from the Chen family, they looked like they had seen a ghost, and there was even a trace of fear in their eyes. If those people dared to take action, today next year will be their death anniversary. Chen Beiyuan seemed very calm. He picked up the teacup next to him and took a sip. The person he sent to pick up Beiyuan was an elite stranger from the Chen family. It is not an exaggeration to say that the veterans of the Lin family have seen ghosts. What is an extraordinary person? The aliens on the border front often rob human race women and violate them. Eventually, a group of foreigners with alien characteristics will be born. They have the blood of aliens and the human race flowing in their bodies. Those alien bloodlines include Tauren clan, Fierce Tiger clan, Cat clan, Leopard clan. The foreign people have the powerful physique of a foreign race, and they also inherit the talent that humans can cultivate. It can be said that they combine the advantages of the two races. Unfortunately, due to the mixing of the two bloodlines, the temperament of those foreigners is very unstable, and they can easily fall into animalistic madness and go on a killing spree. They are like unstable volcanoes, capable of injuring those around them at any time. Even if some people try to eliminate the hidden dangers in their bodies, they all end up in vain. Therefore, even the human race and alien races dislike such unstable, deformed monsters, considering them to be genetically mutated freaks. However, in the hands of the Donghua Chen family, there is an ace army specially formed by strangers, and every one of them is a madman. Once these madmen take action, they are really crazy and will not stop fighting. Even if their heads are cut off and their heads are gone, they can still kill people and animals with a butcher knife. This is a legion specifically designed for killing. Even the aliens and ferocious beasts on the border front will feel heartfelt fear when they see this aliens army. So far, no one knows how the Chen family controls this army of aliens who are not afraid of death. Even within the Donghua Empire, no one could figure out how the Chen family did it. To be honest, when those monsters from the Lin family saw this thing, it was no different than seeing a ghost, because once they take action, the foreigners may suffer casualties, but they will definitely be wiped out. This is the result of bloody lessons. Brother-in-law awesome. At this moment, Beiyuan couldn't find any other words to describe it, and could only use the simplest and vulgar words to express the admiration in his heart at this moment. At the critical moment, it has to be my brother-in-law. If he had expected his old man to come to rescue him, he would have been taken to the Lin family to be punished. Maybe his life would not be in danger, but his own novice might be in danger. Little Lord. At this moment, a figure wearing a dark cloak appeared next to Chen Beiyuan, lowered his body and said something. Beiyuan's eyes changed, and he keenly saw a pair of fluffy cat ears under the dark cloak of the figure. He immediately thought of the team that went to rescue him before and couldn't help but swallow his saliva. Perhaps sensing his gaze, the alien with cat ears, who was covered by a pitch-black cloak and couldn't see clearly, suddenly raised his head. A pair of green cat eyes glowed with cold light, which instantly frightened Beiyuan so much that he almost urinated. Okay, thank you for your hard work. Go down first. Yes, young master. The figure in a dark cloak withdrew his gaze, nodded respectfully towards Chen Beiyuan, and then, like an agile, black cat, disappeared without a trace. Chen Beiyuan put down the teacup in his hand. His eyes flashed with strange colors. He looked at his brother-in-law who was about to pee in front of him, and said meaningfully, "Just now, Lin Jiuzhou personally visited the Wang family, the Wei family, the Zhu family, the Yi family, these top families to seek explanation from Lin Jiuxiao. Those of your friends now either have their legs or hands broken. No one is spared. In the next chapter, the climax of the plot begins. Chapter 71, Part 1. What? Beiyu's expression changed drastically. He was obviously frightened by this sudden news. Immediately, he suppressed the shock in his heart, squeezed out a smile on his face, and looked at Chen Beiyuan in front of him. Brother-in-law, you are kidding me, right? How could Lao Wang, Lao Wei, Lao Zhu, and Lao Yi have their hands and feet broken? They didn't do anything. How could the family behind them agree? Is it possible that Lin Jiuzhou can make several top aristocratic families bow their heads? Beiyuza couldn't believe that several good friends, who had just gathered together, had ended up in such a miserable end in an instant. If the Lin family is in trouble, you should go to him. You are still too young, too innocent, and too naive. Seeing Beiyuza's disbelief, Chen Beiyuan shook his head helplessly and decided to teach his brother-in-law a cruel lesson. Although, in terms of age, his brother-in-law is a few months older than him, he is still too naive in thinking. What a giant baby. Otherwise, it would be impossible to break Lin Jiuxiao's third limb. Is this also something you can do? At this time, you still think the matter is not serious? Do you know that this time, you almost destroyed Lin Jiuxiao? It can be said that you slapped the Lin family in the face. Now, all the forces in Yinjing City know about this matter. If the Lin family doesn't fight back with thunderous means, then they will really become a joke to the empire. Tonight, all relevant personnel will be liquidated, and no one will be able to escape. Do you think the families behind your friends will protect them? Wrong. What a big mistake. Those aristocratic families will not fall out with the Lin family just because of the mischief of a playboy in the family, not to mention that they were at fault in the first place. Down. As soon as Lin Jiuzhou came to the door, the heads of each family decisively handed over the playboy in the family. At that time in the Kyoto nightclub, whoever helped you hold Lin Jiuxiao's hand, Lin Jiuzhou broke his hand alive, and whoever helped hold it down legs, just break them. Chen Beiyuan looked at his brother-in-law, who had a pale face in front of him, with a faint look in his eyes, and sighed softly. Before doing something, you must consider the consequences. There are some things you can do, and some things you cannot do. You have to think clearly. The game of the upper echelon of the empire is not for you to play like this. You have gone too far this time. Even Chen Beiyuan had only let the hunchbacked old woman break people's legs before. As a result, Beiyuza intervened halfway and not only broke 2 of Lin Jiuxiao's legs, he also didn't let go of the most fatal third leg. This guy is a real tiger. Chen Beiyuan dares to let people take action because he can withstand pressure. To put it mildly, it would be his fault tonight. So the Lin family would most likely choose to endure it. As for Beiyuza, why should he? Why did the Lin family tolerate it? Seeing that my brother-in-law broke the whole thing apart, crushed it into pieces, and said it without any mercy, Beiyuza fell silent immediately. He is not a fool either. Born into a wealthy family, he has just become accustomed to being arrogant over the years. With the Bai family behind them, it can be said that they are not afraid of heaven or earth. In addition, with the identity of Chen Beiyuan's brother-in-law, who can't show courtesy to him. As a result, this time, he encountered a tough problem. It can be regarded as a clear understanding of the seriousness of some things. Okay, you will stay at Chen's house these days. If your sister is not here, I, as the brother-in-law, will naturally protect you. As soon as Chen Beiyuan finished speaking, suddenly, his cell phone rang. He picked it up and saw that the caller was his fiancée, Bai Ruowei. Chen Beiyuan was startled, and then he realized that his fiancée had also received the news of his little brother's accident. He glanced at Beiyuza and answered the phone directly. Ruowei. Beiyuan, is Xiaobai at Chen's house now? Bai Ruowei's charming voice appeared from the opposite side, with a touch of intimacy from the girl next door. Yes, I'm at Chen's house. Chen Beiyuan said calmly with dark eyes. Although this was the first time he had spoken to his fiancée, but there is an inexplicable sense of familiarity and closeness. Even the prison-suppressing demonic energy in his body was inexplicably restless. He knew very well that it was because of his fiancée's special physique. His fiancée of the Bai family is not a simple person. In addition to being one of the 4 beauties in Yinjing, she is also one of the most beautiful women in Yinjing. She is also the 3rd Destiny heroine in the original work. Among all the destined heroines, she is the most difficult to deal with. In the original work, even the original villain of Destiny suffered a lot from this fiancé. Beiyuan, I'm sorry to trouble you this time. Please help me take care of Xiaobai. I can rush back to Yinjing tomorrow. Then I will go find you and pick up Xiaobai. I will take care of the Lin family's affairs. The younger generation has younger generation solutions. Lin Jiuzhou wants an explanation, then I will give him an explanation. Bai Ruowei thanked Chen Beiyuan softly, but when he said it at the end, he was a little more fierce. The fact that the Bai family can become the top family in the empire should not be underestimated. Among the younger generation of the Lin family, the most capable one is Lin Jiuzhou. The most capable of the younger generation of the Bai family is Bai Ruowei. This matter was originally a fight between the younger generation, and it was inconvenient for the older generation to take action. Previously, the Bai family had been enduring it because Bai Ruowei was away and the other younger generations were not Lin Jiuzhou's opponents. But now, Bai Ruowei is obviously coming back soon, and naturally she wants to have sex with Lin Jiuzhou. This matter involved her biological brother. How could she give in? Of course, what's more important is that she believes that Chen Beiyuan is still in the growth stage at this moment and is most likely not Lin Jiuzhou's opponent. She is afraid that Chen Beiyuan will act impulsively and take over the matter and start a fight with Lin Jiuzhou. She does not deny that her fiancé's talent potential is the strongest existence in the empire. But Lin Jiuzhou was 14 years older than Chen Beiyuan, had more than 10 years of training time, and was even higher in cultivation. Once Chen Beiyuan gets into a conflict with Lin Jiuzhou and takes action, he will probably suffer a loss. And Chen Beiyuan naturally heard the meaning and unabashed concern contained in it. A smile appeared on his lips. You are afraid that Lin Jiuzhou and I will get into trouble and suffer a loss. Beiyuan, that's not what I meant. I believe that with your talent and potential, it is only a matter of time before you surpass him, but now you? Bai Ruowei was startled, and then she quickly wanted to explain anxiously. You don't need to explain. It seems that someone can't wait to come to your door. I do underestimate him. Chen Beiyuan suddenly interrupted her and looked outside. The next moment, a loud singing voice appeared from outside, instantly resounding throughout the Chen family. Lin Jiuzhou, come to visit the young master of the Chen family. Chapter 72, Part 1. Lin Jiuzhou, come to visit the young master of the Chen family. In the living room, Bai Yu's expression changed drastically. He obviously didn't expect Lin Jiuzhou to dare to come to Chen's house. Even Bai Ruowei, who was thousands of miles away and was rushing back, had a look of disbelief. This was obviously beyond her expectation. What a Lin Jiuzhou! Chen Beiyuan's eyes were dark, and he couldn't help but exclaimed in surprise. Lin Jiuzhou risked his life for his third brother. Not only did he dare to go to several top aristocratic families to ask for explanations, now, he still dares to come to Chen's house alone. With such courage, he is truly worthy of being praised by the Lin family as the heir with the qualifications of a great emperor. Beiyuan, don't rush. Ruowei, just let me handle this matter. Chen Beiyuan ignored Bai Ruowei's anxious advice, hung up the phone, stood up and walked outside. Lin Jiuzhou even came to visit him personally. How could it be that he, the young master of the Chen family, was mainly hiding him? Maybe his fiancée had good intentions, but unfortunately, she obviously underestimated him. At this moment, he has no fear of anyone. Perhaps, the prophecy of the so-called young king, made by the Lord of Heavenly Secrets Pavilion, will not take as long as 10 years. My path to invincibility begins today. A long distance away, in the clouds and mist in the sky, a black shadow suddenly flashed across and was immediately knocked open with a huge hole, leaving a long trace. A huge thing was moving at a terrifying speed. It's so fast that even the most high-tech radar devices have trouble catching it. At this moment, a tall and charming figure was standing on top of the giant beast, with a pair of starry eyes that seemed to contain monstrous rage. He was staring at the east, and the cell phone in his hand made a clicking sound. Lin Jiuzhou, if you dare to hurt Beiyuan even a hair, I will kill you without a place to bury you. 6 years ago, she had regarded that young man as her forbidden child. Anyone who dared to touch her forbidden love would be killed by her. With Lin Jiuzhou's high-profile appearance outside the Chen family gate, in an instant, a stormy sea arose. All forces in Yinjing City were alarmed. Pairs of voyeuristic eyes were looking in the direction of the Chen family. Not only the aristocratic families of the empire, but also the royal family were paying attention at this moment. No one expected that Lin Jiuzhou, the young master of the Lin family, would actually dare to go to the Chen family. Moreover, he also wanted to find Chen Beiyuan, the young master of the Chen family, by name. I'm afraid there will be a good show next. It concerns two great emperor military families. Even those high-ranking figures will not look down upon them in the slightest. On the surface, the entire Chen family and the surrounding area looked calm, but in fact, it had attracted the attention of countless big shots. In fact, even the legendary 8th Grade War Emperor might cast his gaze over here. Lin Jiuzhou stood alone outside the door, ignoring the prying eyes around him and staring straight at the Chen family door in front of him, as if waiting for something. Click. The door of the Chen family was pushed open. Chen Beiyuan clasped his hands behind his back, his noble and majestic face showing a domineering look, grinning at the corner of his mouth, looking down at Lin Jiuzhou outside. Brother Jiuzhou, do you have any advice? Beiyuan, Mingren don't tell secrets. I know that this matter has nothing to do with you. Jiuxia was also at fault in the Kyoto nightclub incident, so I didn't let anyone take action on Leng Ruobing's side. As the eldest brother, I am here to help you with Jiu Xiao. Lin Jiuzhou looked at Chen Beiyuan in front of him, but his attitude was unexpectedly friendly, and he had no intention of coming to question him. He even took the initiative to apologize for Lin Jiuxiao as the eldest son of Lin. Obviously, the affairs of the Kyoto nightclub cannot be hidden from the young master of the Lin family. He is also very aware of his third brother's death-seeking character and things. Lin Jiuzhou's act of voluntarily apologizing shocked the peeping bosses, and at the same time, they also secretly bowed their heads. Such a person is capable of bending and stretching, and his future is limitless. Even Chen Beiyuan nodded secretly at this moment. This is the manner and manners that an heir to a noble family should have. It seems like those children of aristocratic families in those stupid white-knuckle novels are always mocking and cursing their mothers, and they are like a rich man who is a nouveau riche. That is really weird. But Lin Jiuzhou's tone suddenly changed. A hint of sinister color appeared on his handsome face, and he stared at Chen Beiyuan in front of him. But Jiu Xiao is still lying on the hospital bed. How can I, the eldest brother, watch helplessly? Beiyuan, for the sake of my second sister, please give Beiyuza to me as if I, Lin Jiuzhou, and the Lin family owe you a favor. Even Chen Beiyuan had to admit that the importance Lin Jiuzhou attached to his relatives was somewhat beyond his expectation. For the sake of his weird third brother, he was able to bow to him. It's a pity that the eldest son of the Lin family hasn't realized that his third brother is an unfamiliar, white-eyed wolf. He will eventually die in the hands of his third brother. How do you know that I didn't instigate Beiyuza to do this? Chen Beiyuan suddenly said. Lin Jiuzhou's expression changed, and his eyes instantly became ferocious. He stared at Chen Beiyuan in front of him, as if to confirm whether it was true or false, but he quickly shook his head. It can't be you. If it were really you, you would just let your subordinates do it yourself. There is no need to involve a fool like Beiyuza, and there is no need to hide it. If it were really you, you wouldn't take the initiative to say it. It seems that you don't plan to make friends with anyone anymore. Lin Jiuzhou's face gradually turned cold, and he obviously understood what Chen Beiyuan meant. What Chen Beiyuan said next also confirmed his hunch. The person is inside. You can't take him away. The smile on Chen Beiyuan's face dissipated and turned into calmness, and he said without mercy, when things have reached this point, how can they be solved in just a few sentences? If Lin Jiuzhou really wants to take Beiyuza away from the Chen family, let's not talk about whether he can explain it to his fiancée. This is a slap in the Chen family's face. The second child dares to come to the boss's door to ask for someone? He also took people away. What does this make the younger brother below think? The people below won't care about your reasons or any other nonsense. They will only think that the boss can't control the second child. The Chen family can no longer suppress the Lin family. When the time comes, everyone will not be able to tell the difference between the big and small kings. What's the point? Things have developed to this point, and their nature has changed. It's not so much the personal grudge between Beiyuza and Lin Jiuxiao. Rather, it is a confrontation between the two imperial families, the Chen family and the Lin family. In that case, Jiuzhou would like to learn how much weight the young master of the Chen family, the young master of the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion, has in your mouth. Chen Beiyuan, do you dare to fight? Lin Jiuzhou's face was sinister, his eyes were cold, and he directly invited him to fight. At this point, it was impossible for him to give in. After all, you still have to do it once. Why don't you dare? Chen Beiyuan responded domineeringly. Boom. Two terrifying fighting intentions instantly rose up and broke out. Chapter 3, please give me 5-star reviews and free gifts. Chapter 73, Part 1. Boom. With the breakdown of negotiations, two terrifying fighting intentions swept across all directions in an instant, and there seemed to be thunder rolling and flames burning during the collision. In an instant, even the countless big shots who came to watch subconsciously held their breath. These two are not only the top prodigies of the empire, the young masters of top families, but also the future leaders of the empire's military. This battle can almost be said to be a top-notch collision between the two great families. The cultivation level of the two people was also revealed. The 5th grade warrior is at his peak. 6th grade battle king intermediate level. Although Chen Beiyuan is a big level below Lin Jiuzhou. But at this moment, the momentum is not weak at all, and there is even a tendency to push back. Even Lin Jiuzhou didn't expect that one day he would be outdone in terms of momentum by a boy who was more than 10 years younger. You know, he is the top prodigy of the empire who once killed the 7th grade war emperor. You are indeed worthy of being hailed as the young king by the Lord of Heavenly Secrets Pavilion. It's a pity that your cultivation level is still too low. A deep light shone in his eyes, and the powerful soul fluctuations instantly superimposed to form a soul thorn, trying to launch a sneak attack on Chen Beiyuan. Combat skill, soul-eating thorn. In addition to the high-density fusion of the 6th grade war king with his war soul, the strength of his own soul is far greater than that of the 5th grade war master. It is no exaggeration to say that the gap between them is dozens of times or hundreds of times. As long as the spiritual pressure breaks out, it can suppress the soul of a weak person, severely injuring them and preventing them from using even 30% of their strength. This is the natural suppression brought by high cultivation, and his move, Soul-Eating Thorn, is a soul combat skill, which is extremely rare. It was the opportunity he found from its corpse when he accidentally encountered a rotting soul-eater corpse in an abandoned ruins. Once used, even other top prodigy monsters will suffer. Nowadays, when used to deal with Chen Beiyuan, it is really bullying the small. However, the next scene completely shocked Lin Jiuzhou. Chen Beiyuan's dark and deep eyes did not cause a single ripple, and they still stood tall, like a giant mountain rising into the sky. A mysterious wave circulated in his body, easily resisting the soul-eating thorn. My own soul-eating thorn had no effect at all? How can this be? Lin Jiuzhou's eyes flashed with a hint of astonishment. He had known before that Chen Beiyuan's physical body was extraordinary, far beyond that of an ordinary war king, but his soul was also so powerful. Who the hell is the king of war? Hexagon warrior, right? Where do you play? Chen Beiyuan ignored the stunned Lin Jiuzhou, who grinned with a sneer. With the Ezwa Wang Dao Jing to defend his soul, even if Lin Jiuzhou's soul attack was twice as powerful, it would be impossible to break his defense. You're playing dirty, right? Then it's his turn next. Zi Wang Dao Jing was instantly moved to its peak. In an instant, he entered a state of oblivion and became one with the world. I'll finish you off within 10 moves. Crazy. This is impossible. Lin Jiuzhou was also angry at Chen Beiyuan's arrogant attitude at this moment. Want to kill him in 10 moves? It's simply nonsense. Even other top prodigy would not dare to say such a thing. What makes a 5th grade war master? However, the next scene almost made his eyes pop out. Chen Beiyuan disappeared out of thin air. No, he didn't disappear. His men were still standing, but the aura and coercion on his body disappeared without a trace. People can still see, but Lin Jiuzhou can no longer sense his presence. As if Chen Beiyuan in front of me is just a ball of air? Such a strange scene almost made Lin Jiuzhou's scalp numb, and he felt a chill coming over him. Swish! Chen Beiyuan smiled at him, and then completely disappeared from his sight without a trace. Such a strange scene instantly caused Lin Jiuzhou's expression to change dramatically. Even the countless people who were peeping in the dark were shocked. What a weird ability. The Chen family actually has such a weird technique? What a Chen Beiyuan, really extraordinary. Lin Jiuzhou instantly covered all directions with his mental power, trying to find traces of Chen Beiyuan, but there was no clue at all. This is impossible? What kind of weird ability is this? Snapped, Lin Jiuzhou suddenly felt a chill coming from behind, and someone tapped him on the shoulder. Brother Jiuzhou, are you looking for me? A familiar voice suddenly appeared from behind, mixed with a bit of banter. Lin Jiuzhou's pupil shrank, his face changed drastically, and he turned into a ghost in an instant. He wanted to avoid it, but he was a step too slow. Boom! Chen Beiyuan punched him directly. The terrifying prison-suppressing demonic energy exploded instantly, mixed with the violent force of capturing a dragon and subduing a tiger, and hit Lin Jiuzhou hard on the back. Swish! At the critical moment, Lin Jiuzhou's black robe burst out with gleaming light, protecting his vitals. 7th grade vestments? A surprised voice appeared. Bang! Lin Jiuzhou was blown away as if he had been hit by a cannonball, slamming into the surrounding buildings. Boom! 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 Buildings ahead were shattered one after another, setting off countless sandstorms. Chen Beiyuan frowned slightly, feeling as if something had slipped away from the force of the punch just now. That feeling, like snake scales? Interesting. Bang! In the storm of sand and stones, a terrifying giant python with 7 strange patterns on its body suddenly appeared and rushed towards Chen Beiyuan just now. But it really came to nothing. Chen Beiyuan, who once again entered the state of oblivion, once again merged with the world and disappeared without a trace in the gaze of everyone. It has to be said that although Zhuang Dao Jing is auxiliary spiritual skill, even Chen Beiyuan was amazed by its specialness. Damn it! The terrifying python's eyes showed humanized emotional fluctuations. This terrifying giant python was apparently transformed by Lin Jiuzhou. What he practiced was the Lin family's 8th grade technique, Xianin Demon Transformation Sutra. By absorbing powerful blood, he can transform himself and transform into the body of the legendary demon. This is an extremely evil and terrifying technique. Once used, you will have a demon body that can compete with ferocious beasts. At this moment, what Lin Jiuzhou transformed into was a special kind of monster recorded in ancient books. Xianin Sky-Swallowing Python. This is a terrifying existence that is said to have evolved to the end, capable of swallowing the sky. Boom. No hesitation. Seeing that he could not find any trace of Chen Beiyuan, Lin Jiuzhou decisively turned into a stream of light and flew towards the sky, preparing to move the battlefield. At this moment, He couldn't find any trace of Chen Beiyuan and could only be beaten passively. Even if he has the power to swallow the sky, he is powerless. Can you run away? A faint voice suddenly appeared. In the sky, terrifying chains condensed by the prison-suppressing demonic energy surrounded Lin Jiuzhou from all directions, sealing them off. In an instant, its terrifying python body was tied tightly. Prison-suppressing chain. A terrifying magic palm as thick as a mountain fell from the sky and moved towards the terrifying giant python to suppress it. Forbidden Demon Flame Palm. Chapter 74, Part 1. Above Yinjing City, a huge, terrifying python with a strange glow of scales was bound tightly by countless prison chains that appeared from the void. Lin Jiuzhou's Xianin swallowing heaven python struggled frantically, shaking the dark shackles bound to the python's body. But the more he resisted, the stronger the dark shackles became, and even continued to shrink, almost binding into his flesh and blood. The terrifying devil's hand like a mountain suppressed the bound, terrifying giant python. This scene was very similar to the scene in the mythical story, where a powerful god suppressed the evil beast. Such a horrifying scene instantly alarmed the people of the entire city, causing countless exclamations. Even countless bigwigs who were secretly watching were shocked by the scene before their eyes. Lin Jiuzhou, the young master of the Lin family, was subdued so easily? This top prodigy of the empire is also able to rank in the top 5, even in the younger generation. He even had a terrible record of killing the 7th grade war emperor. However, Chen Beiyuan just made a random move from beginning to end, and forced this top prodigy of the empire into a desperate situation, and he was going to suppress him? Chen Beiyuan is so strong? This scene shocked many people greatly. In the minds of many people, this should have been a battle of dragons and tigers, a battle of equal strength. Even in the minds of many people, the possibility of Chen Beiyuan's defeat is very high. After all, he is too young. In comparison, Lin Jiuzhou, who has rich combat experience and a strong record, is obviously more powerful. Unfortunately, the scene in front of them slapped them in the face. The terrifying ability that Chen Beiyuan showed, which was elusive, almost made Lin Jiuzhou play with him easily, and he was beaten without any ability to fight back. Something's wrong. High in the sky, Chen Beiyuan, who was flying in the air with his terrifying body, looked down at Lin Jiuzhou, who was about to be suppressed below, but he didn't feel proud at all, but frowned slightly. Everything went too smoothly, too smoothly. Is Lin Jiuzhou really that weak? How could it be so easy for a top family to regard him as an heir? Unless he did it on purpose. At this moment, the evil snake eyes of the bound, terrifying giant python suddenly looked at him, as if they had penetrated the cover of countless clouds and mist and saw his figure. An evil light instantly burst out from the snake eyes, instantly piercing through the heavy, forbidden devil flame palm, like a mountain, and petrified it, and directly attacked Chen Beiyuan. An inexplicable stiffness appeared on his body. Chen Beiyuan clearly saw that his skin was instantly covered with a gray color, and his whole body was like being soaked in cement. At this moment, it seemed that even his thoughts were petrified. I guessed right, your ability is not invincible. When you launch an attack, you can't maintain that elusive state. The bound, terrifying giant python made a cold human voice. It was bound on purpose. It was set up to use itself as bait to kill Chen Beiyuan. The heir of the Lin family discovered the flaw of Zhuang Daojing in a short time. That is, when Chen Beiyuan took action, he could not maintain the state of unity between heaven and man, and would inevitably reveal his true self. And this is his chance to counterattack. Such a keen fighting talent is appalling. Even Chen Beiyuan, who was petrified at this moment, had to marvel at his quick reaction. Sure enough, none of those who could be established as heirs of aristocratic families were simple. Roar! A terrifying beast with sheep horns and a human body, exuding a fierce aura, suddenly appeared behind him, opened its black, bloody mouth, and swallowed Chen Beiyuan. This is exactly Lin Jiuzhou's top battle soul, Taodai. Taodai, the legendary beast. It has the terrifying ability to devour everything. When Lin Jiuzhou was a 6th grade battle king, he used his Taodai battle soul as the core and cultivated a powerful divine ability that should only be successfully cultivated by a 7th grade battle emperor. Swallow the sky. Roar! The Taotai beast opened its bloody mouth like a black hole, sweeping the wind and clouds, and instantly sucked everything around it into its mouth, including the petrified Chen Beiyuan. It was with such a terrifying divine ability that Lin Jiuzhou devoured a 7th grade battle emperor and refined it into a dry skeleton. There is no doubt that Chen Beiyuan, who was swallowed into the belly of Taodai, was doomed to fail. There is even the possibility of falling. Everything seemed to be over at this moment. But for some reason, Lin Jiuzhou, who had transformed into a terrifying giant python, had an inexplicable, ominous premonition at this moment. I don't know if it's his illusion, but he always feels that when Chen Beiyuan was petrified and swallowed by Taotai, there seemed to be a smile on the corner of his mouth. Not good. He did it on purpose. He had already anticipated his killing game. An almost impossible guess suddenly came to Lin Jiuzhou's mind, like a majestic mountain peak pressing directly on his heart. But how is this possible? Is it possible that Chen Beiyuan can still break his swallowing heaven divine ability? What a terrifying opponent. If I hadn't been a little more capable than ordinary people, I might have really overturned. In that case, let's reveal another trump card. Let me see if my ferocious beast divine ability can break your sky-swallowing divine ability. Living in the belly of Taotai, facing the darkness that is constantly coming from all directions, Chen Beiyuan smiled calmly, his eyes were calm, and he activated Blood Dragon transformation, without hesitation. Roar. The terrifying dragon roar suddenly appeared. The Taotai, fighting spirit that swept through the storm, suddenly let out a scream, and its huge body twisted, as if it could not withstand the terrifying power appearing in the body. Boom! A pair of sharp claws covered with scarlet dragon scales suddenly penetrated Taoye's abdomen, tearing open the space. Cracks appeared instantly on Taoye's fighting spirit. Tear. Amid the disbelieving looks and Taoye's miserable howls, those sharp claws covered with scarlet dragon scales actually tore the newly powerful Taotai from the inside out. The torn, Taotai war spirit dissipated instantly and turned into stars. A tall figure exuding terrifying pressure, covered in scarlet dragon scales, with an evil and majestic face, suddenly appeared in front of everyone. Surprisingly, it is Chen Beiyuan. This is impossible? You actually achieved divine ability? Lin Jiuzhou, whose fighting spirit was torn to pieces and whose soul was damaged, widened his eyes and looked at the domineering figure in disbelief. Not only him, but also the countless high-ranking officials in the Empire who came to watch were all buzzing. A 5th grade War Master actually achieved divine ability? Is this going against heaven? Tear. Chen Beiyuan's domineering and cold figure suddenly tore through the space and appeared in front of the restrained Lin Jiuzhou as if teleporting, ready to punch out. Not good. The terrifying python showed humanized shock on its face. It endured the severe pain in its soul, opened its bloody mouth, and suddenly shot out an extremely sharp giant sword. Under the strong pressure, the giant sword turned into an afterimage and slashed towards Chen Beiyuan. That is a 7th grade magic weapon. Even at this time, Lin Jiuzhou still hid this sinister trump card. At such a close range, coupled with the sharpness of the 7th grade divine weapon, even the 7th grade War Emperor will be cut in half if he is not careful. If it had been anyone else, he might have succeeded. It's a pity that he met Chen Beiyuan. Clang! The huge sword splashed sparks on the scarlet dragon scales, but was unable to hurt him at all. After Blood Dragon transformation, Chen Beiyuan's own physical body is comparable to the 7th grade divine weapon. It's game over. Chen Beiyuan lowered his eyes and looked at the huge python head with a shocked expression in front of him. The fist peak covered with scarlet dragon scales was suddenly filled with terrifying evil energy, and he smashed it down hard. No! Boom! A huge object fell from the sky like a meteor, and countless snake scales shattered and fell heavily to the ground. Boom! Outside the gate of Chen's house, a huge pit suddenly appeared. Lin Jiuzhou, who had been beaten back to his human form, stood in the deep pit. The 7th grade robe on his body had been broken, and there were cracks all over his body. Chapter 74, Part 2. The scarlet flesh and blood that was constantly wriggling inside could be vaguely seen. I said, "You can't take this person away." Chen Beiyuan turned his back to him and slowly walked into the Chen family door. Click. The door slowly closes. Lin Jiuzhou's body trembled as he stood, and the cracked skin suddenly fell off, turning into a bloody man in an instant. Snapped, he fell. Chapter 75, Part 1. Lin Jiuzhou was defeated. This young powerhouse, who was hailed by the Donghua Lin family as having the qualities of a great emperor, and who could at least be ranked among the top 5 prodigies in the empire, was defeated so quickly that many people had no time to react. Although the battle just now lasted less than a quarter of an hour, its intensity was far beyond that of the 6th grade Battle King. It was even more intense and terrifying than the battles between some 7th grade war emperors. The fierce murderous intention contained in it can be said to be changing rapidly. The backup tactics each deployed and the combat wisdom displayed were even more astonishing. It's hard to imagine that this is really just a fight between a 5th grade war master and a 6th grade war king. Especially the physical fitness displayed by Chen Beiyuan is even more shocking. Is this really a 5th grade commander? Both physically and spiritually, he far surpasses the 5th grade war master, and is even more terrifying than Lin Jiuzhou, the empire's top prodigy. What's even more shocking is that Chen Beiyuan actually mastered an extremely powerful divine ability. The 5th grade war commander has mastered the divine ability that only the 7th grade war king can master. This is no longer shocking. This kind of thing has never happened in the Donghua Empire since its founding. It's a pity. If Lin Jiuzhou's heaven-swallowing divine ability hadn't been restrained by Chen Beiyuan's mysterious divine ability and his Taotai fighting spirit was torn apart, he wouldn't have been defeated so quickly. Lin Jiuzhou was not unjustly defeated. The killing he just did might have been successful if it were another empire prodigy. It's a pity that he met a monster that was younger, stronger, and more terrifying than him. I originally thought that Chen Beiyuan would need several years of accumulation before he could keep pace with the younger generation of monsters like Lin Jiuzhou, but now it seems that he was mistaken. Now it seems that among the younger generation of strong players, Chen Beiyuan is probably good enough to be among the top 3. The waves behind the Yangtze River beat the waves ahead. With this prodigy, the Chen family will be able to prosper for hundreds of years, or even 1,000 years. Countless dignitaries from the empire who came to watch looked at the closed door of the Chen family and Lin Jiuzhou, who had been severely injured and fell into a deep coma. They couldn't help but express strange emotions. Today's battle, in a sense, is also a secret confrontation between the two top families, the Chen family and the Lin family. Many people thought that Lin Jiuzhou could surpass Chen Beiyuan with his advantages in cultivation and age, but the final result was shocking. The moment Lin Jiuzhou fell, the strong men of the Lin family appeared on the scene and took him away directly. Chen family. Lin Jiuzhou's strength can be ranked among the top 5 among the younger generation. It's really not easy. He was able to force 2 of my trump cards. As the young master of the Lin family, he most likely has some kind of last-ditch life-saving trump card. It's not that simple to kill him unless I use other trump cards. However, why should I kill him? Let's not forget that after Lin Jiuzhou's death, the Lin family will definitely go crazy and start an all-out war with the Chen family. By then, wouldn't it be paving the way for Lin Jiuxiao and Lin Xiao, the Crouching Dragon and Phoenix pair? The road? Today, Lin Jiuzhou is more valuable alive than dead. Chen Beiyuan's eyes were dark, and he murmured secretly. Top aristocratic families have many means, and young masters from aristocratic families like Lin Jiuzhou always have life-saving means hidden within them. Those 8th-grade war emperors usually leave a hidden, spiritual mark in their heirs, which can be activated independently at critical moments. Under such circumstances, it is almost extremely difficult to kill the heirs of these top families. This is the fundamental reason why the battle between Chen Beiyuan and Lin Jiuzhou was almost a go-at-all, without any mercy. Because both sides know very well that death will not lead to death. The most they will suffer is some physical pain, a broken hand, a broken foot, a broken bird, or something like that. When the time comes, just take the heaven and earth spirit treasure and pick it up. In the original work, the reason why Lin Jiuzhou, the young master of the Lin family, died was because he used his life-saving trump card in a deadly fight with the original villain, the fateful villain, and was seriously injured. In the end, he was stabbed in the back by his white-eyed wolf brother and Lin Xiao, secretly killing him. Of course, with Chen Beiyuan now possessing many trump cards, he is still quite sure of killing Lin Jiuzhou. Not to mention anything else, this time, he only revealed the 2 trump cards of Azuo Wang Dao Jing and Blood Dragon Transformation. In addition, he also has Wordless Medical Scripture, Magic Stone, Anu, Blood Evil Dragon Emperor, Ancient Prisoner Dragon Lock, 8th Grade Divine Weapon, Abyss, Battle of Destiny, Soul. Wait until the trump card is played. With so many trump cards in his possession, Lin Jiuzhou would still die even if he had the means to save his life. But why did he kill Lin Jiuzhou? Paving the way for Lin Jiuxiao and Lin Xiao, the 2 Crouching Dragons and Phoenix Chicks? Without Lin Jiuzhou's pressure, Lin Jiuxiao, the white-eyed wolf, might be able to successfully rise to the top with the aura of Lin Xiao, the Son of Fortune. When the time comes, the pair of Crouching Dragon and Phoenix Chicks will probably get huge benefits. Moreover, the entire Lin family will share the same hatred and become extremely united, fighting against the Chen family. It is better to follow the original plot and let Lin Jiuxiao embark on the script of killing his brother and father, seizing his sister-in-law, and betraying his second sister. At that time, the Lin family in civil strife will be easy to deal with. Next, the imperial royal family should come out to clean up. No, it should come out to mediate the conflicts between the parties. This time, the Chen family and the Lin family didn't fight. They fought to the death. I'm afraid many people were disappointed. Many people have been coveting the empire's military power for a long time. The corners of Chen Beiyuan's mouth curled up with a trace of undisguised sarcasm. At this moment, the long-dormant, defying the heavens and changing fate system, reappeared. Ding! Due to the intervention of the host, the tragic ending of the luck heroine, Leng Ruobing, who was humiliated, was saved, which led to Leng Ruobing secretly having feelings for the host. At the same time, it also indirectly caused Lin Jiuxiao, an important supporting role, to have problems with her fertility, and her sexual orientation and personality became distorted, which led to strange changes in the subsequent plot. Ding! Congratulations to the host for receiving a special reward, Dragon Blood Dao Fruit X2. Ding! The host made a strong move. As the young master of the Chen family, he powerfully defeated the young master of the Lin family, Lin Jiuzhou, an important supporting role. in full view of the public. This greatly damaged the reputation of the Lin family in Donghua and announced to the outside world the fate of the Chen family in Donghua, the status of being the first in the military. Ding! Congratulations to the host for receiving a special reward, immobilization spell, divine ability. Divine ability, one of the ancient Taoist divine abilities. It can use one's own blood and spirit as a medium to forcibly immobilize the target's soul and body, making it unable to move and losing its ability to resist. The specific effect is mainly based on the cultivation gap between the caster and the cursed person. When the gap in cultivation strength between the two is too large, divine ability backlash is very likely to occur. Asking for 5-star reviews and free gifts.
Thanks for watching. You can find the next videos in the playlist linked in the info card or directly on my channel. If you have any feedback, I'd love to hear it. Feel free to drop a comment.